And welcome back to the We'll Take It From Here podcast. Another week, another episode. However, first, we are going to bring you our show's sponsor, because this episode is brought to you by Honest Supplements. Now, Joe, what's Honest Supplements? Well, let me tell you. In a world that is plagued by new illness outbreak every other day, it's important to keep your body performing at its best with the right vitamins and supplements. However, these products can get expensive, especially with rising prices all around us. Honest Supplements has resolved that problem. They mark up all products by just $1, saving their members an average of 50% per product. Yes, that means that the protein you're paying $60 for is only $30 on their website. They have everything from vitamins, sports supplements, recovery, weight loss, CBD, and so much more. It costs just $10 a month or $99 for the entire year to join the Honest Supplements Club. Timmy and I are both members and can advocate for the amount of money that you will save. And do we also mention that all products are third-party lab tested? Because that's the only true way to prove vitamins and supplements actually contain the ingredients that they claim. Don't wait. Go to Honest Supplements right now to join today and start taking better care of your health. And it's right. If you train jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, or just in the gym, you better be taking Honest Supplements. So go to their website, guys. All right. Now it's time for the show. Back, folks, so we'll take it from here with Joe and Timmy, episode 167. I'm gonna look right here. What's going on, guys? We're back in the apartment here in Morristown. You listen to a show with the goal to entertain you, make you think. We've got the YouTube back, obviously. I'm looking into a camera, so check us out on YouTube at the We'll Take It From Here podcast YouTube channel. We'll post some shorts or post videos. You get to see all of our beautiful faces and not just listen to our beautiful voices. But anyway, guys, thank you for support. Support Honest Supplements, as you know, the ad that was just playing in the beginning. Go to the gym, go train, take your Honest Supplements. That's it. Without further ado, let's welcome our guest. This is going to be a fun one, folks, because we can talk with this guy. Marc Cruz, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, I appreciate that, Joe. How are you?
Good, man, good. It's going to be fun. So Marc and I work in we won't say the company, but because we won't say the company, we work together, and we always have great conversations, and that's why I asked you. I wanted you to come on the show because I'm like, you know what? Who can we sit down and just shoot the shit with? You. And we had an hour conversation yesterday at lunch, and I was like, all right,
we gotta say this for the podcast.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie. There was many times where I was like, should I just tell us to shut the fuck up and we'll talk tomorrow? But it don't matter. We can repeat stuff. I don't care. But yeah, man, like I said, off air, I just tell the audience who's Marc.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not much, man. I keep it simple. Just some guy. I've been in sales for a long time. That's been a big staple in my life. I do a lot of fun stuff out here. I have a lot of different hobbies. I'm getting a new hobby every couple of weeks. I try to live my life like it's one long adventure. And outside of that, I'm just trying to find people out there like myself. I like having a good conversation.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, about the
You're
hobbies.
You're good company.
Yeah, the hobbies.
Yeah.
How many fish tanks do you have right now, man?
Oh my God.
No, this is sick. He's literally gonna have an aquarium in his house. It's fucking sick.
But hold on.
Yeah.
You said how many tanks?
Yeah.
So it's more than one.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So there's having the hobby and then having multiple sets of the hobby.
Yes.
So go on.
Well, I'm a full send kind of guy.
Of course. Yeah.
I've always loved aquariums since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I'm like, well, that's going to bring me some peace. I need a winter hobby. I get a little stir crazy. So I found an aquarium on sale, bought it in the middle of January, and I think now there's currently 5 set up in my office of all different sizes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But it's like sick. Like you bought the actual plants. So you're not doing like artificial cleaning. You're going to have a whole ecosystem that cleans itself.
The legit stuff, not the plastic things that you have to,
Oh, well, if we're doing full send, you got to do it the right way, right?
Yeah.
Do that with every hobby. That's what kind of drives my fiance a little wild. It goes from goes from what I say starts as something cheap into a couple $100 worth of plants later, and let's see what sticks.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Have you always been like that type of personality in your life where everything you do is full send, or did that sort of come in from something?
No, it's actually always been that way. It's a random philosophy of if I'm going to do anything, you may as well enjoy it all the way.
That's a good way to live your life.
If I'm talking candidly, there's no reason to half-ass anything, just whole-ass one thing.
Yeah, I like that.
That's fair. So with these aquariums, do you have a bunch of fish so far? Are they all freshwater, saltwater?
So that's very funny. I now have 5 aquariums. It's 4 fish. Ideally, was where we started with. It's been near 2 months. I've gotten 3 fish. I've already gone through 12 shrimp, and most of the aquariums just have plants in them. I've become a plant guy. Started with fish.
So it's
now I
a
like
plant
plants.
aquarium.
Yeah, right now it's a planted aquarium. That's all I do.
That's funny.
Let's go. Cheers here. Yep. Thank you.
Cheers, my brother. Absolutely.
The non-alcoholic one.
Yeah, it's all good. Cheers on a nice little Macallan 12. Show sponsored by Cal. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. But one day.
Hopefully. So what fish do you have?
Corridors catfish. Those are the only fish out there right now. Yeah, that I'm doing
It's
Neo.
just the season?
No, you know what it is? I'm trying to build the tanks to have more of an ecosystem. Like I've seen a lot of people do fish tanks, right? Everyone's seen them. But if we're going to do it, like I said, let's go full send. So ideally, I just wanted to maintain itself and have the catfish on the bottom. A lot of shrimp are going to be added there, fish of all levels. Ideally, I don't want to maintain the tank. I just want to sit there and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny you say this. So at my parents' house growing up, they had a pond installed. And we found out very quickly. So you're talking about the ecosystem and how it self-sustains, right? Well, they put dyed mulch around it. And after the first rainstorm, you could not see anything in the pond. So I'm like 14 years old, and I'm like, and I got a garbage pail, filled that up with fresh water, put the fish in it, which is not always the best. They need a transition, right? But I had to clean the whole pond out. Brand new pond installed. I had to take every single rock out, pressure wash all of that out, move the mulch, and reinstall it. But now the pond's probably 15 years old, self-sustained. It's a waterfall bed. It's beautiful. It's awesome. There's so much when those plants really take hold and grow. It's awesome.
You know what's funny about that too? That experience is like everything else in life, where something's going well, you're like, oh yeah, awesome, new hobby, or hey, this is a new thing I'm doing, new job. Everything's going well. Then all of a sudden, you're not thinking, because things are going well, you're not thinking about what mistakes you could be making, and then boom, a lesson comes in. You're like, maybe I should have just went with the non-dye mulch, because now I can't see shit.
Well, don't do any mulch, because if it rains at all, mulch is like pretty light, so you want to do as much rock as possible.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. That's why.
I mean, if you set it up so that if it does rain, it's not going to go into the pond, then you're good. So that you don't have that issue with fish tanks.
No, but it's actually very interesting to hear you talk that way, because it's nice to hear someone else that understands. Okay, there's like a balance with everything you have to do with the fish tank. And you also mentioned that it's been up and running for 15 years now. Ideally, like that's the goal. It's once you do create that balance, you don't worry so much about any sort of fog or anything in the water. You don't worry about too many of the different levels. Like once it does have that self-sustainability, then it's just a beautiful thing you get to enjoy.
It's funny on that exact topic is we don't have that too many issues now, but the first like 3 to 5 years, there were some seasons where like it would get foamy and whatnot. It was just the ecosystem building up. There's a couple of times where there was so much algae. And then the other thing, which you don't have to worry about with fish tanks inside, is we had birds come in, and it was koi, and they come eat the koi. So the one fish we have left from the original set, he's huge now. He's probably the size of Joe's Yeti, like in diameter. He's probably about a good 18 inches long. Maybe bigger. He's got a scar on his head from the birds trying to eat him. But that was the issue, is we weren't having the fish in there to eat the all the algae and stuff. So it was getting overgrown. But now it's at a point where the net's covering the top, the whole thing. So no birds are getting in and no ground animals, nothing. And we actually just had, I think last year or 2 years ago, they had babies.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is like, dude, that's a money. If you could do that sustainably with koi, you could make a lot of money, because koi is very expensive. But it's in that ecosystem now where it's balanced and it just runs itself. My dad puts a heater or two on during the wintertime so that the waterfall still flows. It's gorgeous. The shapes that happen from the freeze on the waterfalls, it's so cool.
It's very cool to hear though that you understand that there is like an evolution that it has to go through for that ecosystem, like create that balance. And that's the beauty of what I'm doing now. That's why it became a winter hobby of mine. It's been 6 weeks. It's going to be however many years I can imagine I'm going to continue doing this. And the fun part about it is I get to watch it change every day. The plants are going to grow. The water is going to look a little bit different. The livestock in the tank is always going to act a little bit different. So there's always an adjustment to be made. But once it really gets rolling, once that ecosystem gets built, it's just this beautiful thing you get to kind of enjoy and kick back.
That's awesome. And so this is all freshwater, right?
Yeah, it's currently all freshwater. I have a good friend of mine across the country. He's thinking about getting back into fish as well. So We're bouncing ideas off of each other, but he's thinking about going the saltwater route. I'll get there in time.
I think my uncle has a saltwater. He switched to that. And from what I hear, that's a lot more involved. Yeah,
gorgeous tanks. I'd say startup is probably going to take quite a bit more. But once you have everything going, it's all, just constant maintenance.
Yeah, but also too, you'll get there because you already did the hard thing, right? And that's just getting started. And let me give you an example. When you brought up the fish tank idea to me, I've never had a pet. So what I said, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't want to, and I'm fine without having a pet because I just don't want to deal with the work, even though it's not a big,
I have 2 dogs, by the way.
Yeah, he has 2 dogs. Doing a good job training them. Doing a good job.
I do bare minimum to train them at this point.
But I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just get a fish tank. And you were like, yeah, just get a nice little 3-gallon one. It's nothing. It's barely any, it's really quick and easy to learn. I never did it. So the hard part, and I at the end, I was like, yeah, at first I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to do this. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to. I just made the decision not to. But you've already done the hard part. And now everything else is like by putting in the new plants, by finding your natural filtration system within that. Once you start putting the fish in, then it's going to grow. Like you said, the new plants old plants going to die, new plants go in. You already have the system. So by the time you get to the saltwater, it's just going to be learning how to deal with saltwater to water. It's like what we did with this podcast, man.
It's momentum.
Literally, it's just momentum. I started it. I didn't have any of this. I didn't have this. I had a freaking phone. I put it on the table for the first 10 episodes. Then I got another mic. And then I was like, all right, if I want to be legit and if I want to have more than one guest or just one guest in general, we can't be speaking into one fucking Yeti mic. So let's evolve, right? And now we got the video back. So it's all about just taking that first step, man.
I gotta say, I do like that you mentioned that, Joe. I was listening to something this morning. There is something about taking that first step. I've held that mentality for a number of years now through some hardships in life. And the cool part about different life experiences is all you got to do is take that first step. And that's why I have the hobbies and the experiences I do, because look, it's a Saturday morning. What else am I going to do today? Yeah. May as well take that step, try something new, and see what happens.
Enjoy life, explore. That on the topic of the first step, I feel like when people they get these ideas of what they want to do in their head, right, and then they get the idea of, okay, what if I fail? And that's always what stops them. Like you with the fish, I'm sure the reason why you didn't do it is because what if I fail? You're just like, I just don't feel like investing the time into this. I got other shit.
That's exactly
this is
what it was. Yeah.
Not the thing I want to invest my time into. So that's not the topic. But like starting a business or whatever, it's the investment of time. But it's like like the whole thing of like failing is a lot of the reasons what people don't do things. Right. I'm in the process of going through some house building stuff right now, and it's trying to figure out what the plan I want to do forward. But I'm moving forward with that regardless because I'm not. It's not, the focus isn't what if I fail and just go forward and deal with whatever happens. You know, when you're starting these hobbies, it's like, oh, you could fail. Like that fish tank when you first started, it could have just flopped and it was just wasted and you killed all the plants, you know, but you won't know until you try, right?
Sure. I mean, for what it's worth, even with the first tank that has started, quite a few of the shrimp that were put in there went with some expensive ones for God knows what reason. They were just great looking shrimp. Figured we are going to have them as part of the cleanup crew. And quite a few of them have died already, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's water parameters, whether it's something that I'm trying to make adjustments to. But it's interesting that a lot of people have that mentality of, you know, I don't want to do this thing because what if I fail? Mm-hmm. I've adopted the mindset of, sure, that's part of the process. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's something else that you do get to do. A lot of people spend time with what ifs. I've been there for quite a few years in my life. At this point, it wastes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because what if I fail isn't actually doing the thing. Thinking about whatever it is you want to do isn't actually doing the thing. Mm-hmm. The only thing you can do is actionable steps and take that first step. Just see what happens. You might fail. You're going to learn either way.
Yeah. In the process of learning is where the fun part is, for the most part. You know, obviously you don't want to have the really hard learned lessons where you get hit in the face, figuratively and literally sometimes with us.
Yeah.
But those sometimes those are the best lessons you learn, and after that you're like, damn, that sucks. But look at where I progressed to now because I've learned this lesson, the hard way. Now I know moving forward. So what other hobbies have you dove into like this?
If we're starting with younger years, let's really get into it. Growing up in the 90s, 2000s, everything was X Games related.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm sure you guys have some experience there, either some sort of inline skating, rollerblading, whatever we want to call it, BMX, skateboard, snowboard. Mm-hmm. So those are all things that I have done in my younger years. I revisit when I can. In my 30s now, the body's not what it used to be, so I got to be careful about it myself.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I used to DJ.
Oh, wow.
I want to say I still help doing some karaoke DJing, but it's been a number of years since that. Work and life's taken me in other directions. Played nationally sponsored paintball before.
Oh, wow.
That's sick. Dude, I knew you were big in paintball. Didn't know you were nationally sponsored, and if you did tell me that, I apologize for forgetting. But damn, how did you become nationally sponsored?
I want to say it's a lot cooler of a story than it really is. I played a lot of paintball since I was 13. Got progressively more into it. We got into what's called speedball. Don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but it looks like almost that. Yeah, college competitive paintball there. And then I had a friend that joined a woods ball team down in Chemung, New Jersey, down at Quick Shot Paintball. Mm-hmm. Team name's Got Kills. You might still be able to find our old Facebook page if anyone's out there.
Got Kills.
That's fun.
I go by Knuckles. So Sonic and Knuckles. You always see me with the red dreads. But yeah, outside of that, we're sponsored by Planet Eclipse for some time. We did a lot of woods ball stuff. We tried to dive more into the speedball stuff. I've ran some clinics, just growing up, and it's something that's been with me for, at this point, over 20 years.
Nice.
Do you still paintball?
I get out there when I can, but I'm always doing something else. As of late, I do, motorcycle stuff, car stuff, e-bikes. So when I have the time, I hop out there on the field.
If you've ever seen my Instagram stories at work of the past year of being in cool ass go-karts, or if I was on e-bikes, that's thanks to Mark, bro. Nice. Dude, I'm so pumped. We'll come out. It'll be a Friday because our team works hard, right? So then it'll be like a Friday. It's hot out, right? Hey, you want to go instead of lunch? You want to just hit the go-karts? Fuck yeah, dude. That thing. And Mark is literally like Tokyo drifting that shit, bro. Fast and the Furious, seriously. And his go-karts, like, it's not like it's peculiar because it's not your gas-powered go-karts. It's electric go-kart with like, how do you explain it? Like, there's a steering wheel that you built into it, but there's also like an e-brake that helps you drift or something. Yes. It's interesting.
So it's not anything I've done, not anything I've created. It's just something that I like to play around with. Razor Scooters, their company, they make what's called Crazy Carts. Yeah, and it's a front wheel drive go-kart with 2 rear casters, and what you think is your e-brake kind of just lifts the rear and it allows the whole cart to swing. Essentially,
it's awesome.
It just simulates drifting on a really small scale.
That's so much fun.
It's so much fun to go on there. Like, and obviously the parking lot's a lot emptier, so like it's easier to see if cars are coming, and you'll see all the people, just like random coworkers or just random people from the building walking out, just looking at us like, what the fuck are these people doing? And you just
living life. That's what we're doing, bitches.
Legit. At one point, I honestly, as much as I love those crazy carts, I love your e-bikes more because I've always been into motorcycles. Just never wanted to get one. I don't. Maybe it's just a fear. I don't know that I need to get over.
Not in Jersey for me.
Yeah, but those e-bikes are fun as hell, and like, dude, I'll just go on like I would just rip them across. Like, you were ripping them like past the, like on the what's it called, on the grass, and I was like, oh, all right, this is like, you can hit it.
Is this like a e-bike mountain bike, or is this like the full like legit e-bike?
No, they're little like e-dirt bikes. Again, they're made by Razor. They're just small scale, electric vehicles.
All right, cool, yeah.
They don't need to be registered. They don't need to be insured. And the reason I kind of buy them is why not get out there and have some fun in the sun?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly it. You just enjoy your lunch break at the end of the day with your coworkers.
Dude, I like that mentality that you have. Is you obviously work hard. I know that every day about you. You're very particular in how you do things, but you like to play, and I think that's important because I think a lot of people sacrifice the play because they think that it's got to stop at some point. And then they get to a point, this is just my opinion, some people, where it's too serious life, and life is way too serious, and now you're a little sad because you're reminiscing on the old times. Like, bro, just fucking
Go
have
do
fun.
it.
Just have some fun. Like, there is time to have fun. It's not supposed to be miserable all the time.
I feel like people forget how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget. And that's so I don't know if I have as many hobbies as you, but that's one of the things I try to do in my 20s was, what hobbies do I want to have in my life? When I have kids, I'm not going to be able to learn new hobbies. So basically, up until when I have kids, I'm not going to be able to learn more until after the kids are, high school age, when they're on their own. Then I can get back into it. But then I'll be in my 50s, right? So I'm not in my 20s with the same body. So in my 20s, that's where I explored all my hobbies. Make sure, I want at least a good foundation of all this stuff. So, when you're saying paintball, I bet you when you pick up that gun, it's like it was yesterday you're holding it.
Oh, I'd say every hobby I have, it's basically like it was yesterday
Yeah.
that I was last experiencing it. It's one of those things that I don't let go. My fiance laughs about it on a regular basis that I don't pick up new hobbies. I don't replace any hobbies. I just add more, to the list of things I do.
Add more to the roster, yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough hours in the day. I'd actually maybe counter that thought process a little bit with, why not continue to learn hobbies? I mean, even at this point in life, as I'm starting to get in a place where I'm thinking about family and kids, I can learn hobbies alongside
Yeah,
them, and,
absolutely.
And why not? We get one spin at life. Let's just keep going.
Yeah. I think with that, too, is, though, there's certain hobbies, like for snowboarding, right? There's a specific season for that. And when you go once a month or once a week, it's going to be hard to get. But if you have the time to really dedicate and you go, 15 times in the season, you're going to build that momentum and really develop the skill. But, when you have kids and stuff, are you going to have the same amount of time? If it's crocheting, though, you can do that at home in 15-minute increments and put that down. But so there's certain hobbies you can pick up easier when you have families and whatnot. So that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, but think about this too. I'm gonna circle back to I fucking hate how I'm using terminology like that.
Let's circle back.
Yeah, circle back.
Okay.
I'm gonna return to yesterday's conversation toward the end before we got back on the phones.
Sure.
And you said something really cool. Mark says, he goes, I'm just some guy doing something, right? And there was a lot leading up to that statement, but it goes back to your hobbies, right? Why not? You just said, why not learn a new hobby, right? You're just some guy doing something, but because you did something, now you learned, right? So when it came to the e-bikes, you learned how to assemble e-bikes. When it came to the crazy carts, you learned how to assemble them. You learned what you needed. The fish tanks, you learned the pH on the water now. Now you know and that's why when we were talking about experience, right? Because a lot of people are book smart, but they're not experience smart. But how do you get that experience smart? Because we all have that capability. It's by just being some guy or gal doing something.
Just go and do it.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I do have to say one of the things that really helped me get there was probably a big breakup over a decade ago, and I got in the Spartan race. Actually, I know some Reebok logo on your shirt there.
it's UFC.
Do you mind going into that a little bit, or is that something you don't want to touch? Or
No, I mean, I could touch on it a bit. It was just You know what? I was at
the
that
transformation. That's what I'm talking
absolutely.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at that point in my life where it was, that was the biggest breakup and the biggest heartache I'm ever gonna feel. Obviously, you think love in your 20s. Everyone's story, nothing different. So I got in the Spartan race. It's something that we talked about doing. I figured, why not? Let's try something new. Never done it before. And somehow it's like there were a few signs that day, literal signs even on the course. And, one of them that I don't forget is it's one step at a time. And it's just, I always have the mentality of it's one foot in front of the other. I'm just some guy that likes to go do some stuff. And as far as experiences, we do get one spin here. A lot of people do a lot of repetitive, mundane things. I'm not trying to judge anyone. If that's what makes you happy, it's what makes you happy. But at the end of the day, why not try and experience more? Why not add more to your list of achievements? Whether that's, learning about pH and water, learning about something outside. Life's a beautiful thing. And there are too many things that keep people in a very just constant state of, I don't want to call it mediocrity, but just this, there's just this boring state of life as of late, especially with all the access to the internet now. To me, it's put the phone down, touch some grass, let's go do some stuff and have some fun.
Dude,
I love that.
I'm happy you said that because I was actually on my phone this morning, dude, and I'm like, I need to get the fuck off this thing. And I will admit, I'm failing in the aspect of holding myself accountable to not open up Instagram every fucking 5 seconds. Even on a weekday, I'll come home, everything's good, I'll shower and sit on the couch, and the first thing I do is flip to Insta. What am I doing, dude? Like, no, get off of it, dude. Get off of it.
The worst is I'll go put a show on, and I'll pause the show to go on Instagram. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Right?
And I have to throw the phone away. Like, it's funny though. If I don't have my phone on me, I don't go grab it.
Yes.
I left it in the other room for like 2 hours. And I was like, wait, where's my phone? Oh shit, I don't have it. Cool. Oh, that worked out. Now I know what I need to do.
Do you want to know what's embarrassing? And no, I have not bought YouTube Premium yet. You're gonna ask me. I will fucking put YouTube on that TV only to open up my laptop and go on YouTube, and I'm watching 2 different things. I'm like, this is not healthy. Like, I'm cognizant. It's not healthy. It's like, all right, stop. Let me just put this aside.
So go touch grass.
Yeah, dude, I'm serious.
Or smoke it, whatever you want.
I'll fucking either way. Yeah, right. Back to when you the significant breakup that allowed you to do a Spartan race, right?
Sure.
So obviously you get that hit of, I don't know if endorphins is the right word, but you start to do something new. It takes your mind off of the breakup, right? Were you cognizant though of your transformation? Were you sort of blocking the breakup, or not blocking, shoving it in a different part of the brain, or were you able to fully comprehend it, let it go while doing this new endeavor, or were you using that as more of a way to just block and take your mind off of it?
I would say that it helped me take my mind off of it a bit. The reason that I don't mind that breakup being a part of my story is everyone's got a story, and that's helped me get to, who I've become today. So I'd say I used it more like fuel. I mean, we've been to the gym before. You've seen that guy on the bench, the one that looks like he's gone through a breakup. He's got nothing left to lose, and he's going to be there for the next 3 years, and you're going to see a monster at the end of it. So
I think we've all been there too at some point.
Yeah. So I started that with Spartan Race. I didn't go with anyone else. I drove up to Tuxedo, New York. The first event I ever did. I want to say back in maybe 2014, 2015.
Did you do any preparation for this?
I decided 3 days prior that I wanted to do a Spartan race.
I fucking love that, dude.
Awesome.
Dude, yeah. I love that.
And it wasn't a huge race, right? I'm not going to say I climbed any mountains, and you're not going to impress anyone with doing one push-up. So it was, I want to say, about 4.5 miles. Ran it in 45 minutes. Again, Tuxedo Park, New York. Just full send, did what I could just to get through it, used it as fuel. And ever since then, that started 2.5 years of a Spartan race journey, going to the gym, and then just growing every day after that.
That's awesome.
Bro,
I love that 3 days.
But dude, like 45 minutes for a 4.5 mile run, dude, when you just did 3 days of I don't even know if you could even call prep work within 3 days. That's still hard. Like you said, I didn't climb 8 mountains. Who cares? You ran 4.5, you say 4.5 miles with 3 days of prep work. I'm sorry, you don't prep for 4.5
You're not preparing.
Yeah. And especially
you're psychologically preparing.
But that's good because that showed, I bet you, hold on, I don't want to say it for you. What did that teach you? If it taught you anything, maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Taught me quite a bit. What's there to prepare for? It taught me about mentality. It taught me about, if there's something you really want to do. The human mind is a beautiful thing. I don't think people think about that enough. You really can drive yourself to do nearly anything in the world outside of fly, right? And even
maybe
then,
one day.
I don't know. In my dreams, I do it pretty often.
Dude, I fly pretty much in my dreams.
And even then, it's really about just going to a place in your mind to say, hey, this is something I want to do. I'm going to get it done either way. However it happens, it happens. But, part of that breakup was, well, okay, it hurt, but I didn't die. I didn't lose any limbs. I wasn't maimed. So I guess I'm running this race.
Yeah. It's almost like what you were saying yesterday, bro. The mentality you take, no matter what's going on in your life. Wake up, thank God, I'm alive again, I'm breathing. That's all that matters. Truly, that matters.
That we talk about, I feel like we're on this theme a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And what I always bring it back to is gratitude. Is being grateful for where you're at in life. Someone always has it worse. So silver lining and gratitude. It sounds like it all summed up into the philosophy that you live your life by.
I've just spoken to a lot of people over time. I try to learn a lot about anyone I can because everyone's got a piece of the puzzle that we don't have. The world's a big place. A lot of people have had a lot of different experiences, and you could walk tens of thousands of miles in anyone's shoes. I think from like a gratitude perspective, it's the sun came up today. Every day is going to be a beautiful day. Nobody that means something to me died today, so I don't need to be upset about it today. There's going to be something beautiful in every day. And if you approach life with trying to find a different perspective in everything, I've noticed it gets a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to look at it. Yeah. I got nothing more than that.
Well, no,
yeah. It's beautiful, and I don't even want to say anything.
No,
It's
it's powerful, and that's why it is powerful, and it is true. And the one thing I will just say though is like when people hear that, I think, and I'm not saying this is how you or how you stated it. You stated it the way you stated it. It's just that that'll happen, and I've taken that approach many times. If you know me, I'm always talking mindset. I'm always talking about flipping thoughts. I'm always talking about being in control of your thoughts. Doesn't mean that there's times where I'm fucking sitting here in my apartment and something pisses me off and I'm fucking fuming. So I think what people don't understand is that's a great mentality to have, because whatever hardship you go through, if you can have the mentality that you have and the gratitude that you speak to, that's what helps you get through it. Because without it, you'll crumble. And by crumble, I mean you'll let the thoughts pile up, the negative ones, and then it'll just, detonate and fucking collapse. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's important. It's very important. It's powerful what you said. Dude, it just bringing me a lot of back, and I will naturally get into it if it comes up. But I'm telling you, man, the conversation we had yesterday was unreal. So much we missed a meeting, dude.
That's awesome.
Oops. We may or may not have missed the meeting.
That was a very important meeting that you guys had, though.
What?
Yeah,
the meeting you guys had was an important meeting.
Dude, we literally go back to the thing. We're like all happy and all that shit. And all of a sudden I just hear, there was a meeting. And I just, Big Red's our manager. Just his joke. Big Red. He goes, hey, make sure you're on this 1:00 meeting. And it was 1:15. I was like, oh, maybe it's still going. I click to join. You are now the presenter. It is not still going.
I must have left the meeting just before you because I saw the same exact thing. I was like, all right, I missed that one.
I missed that one. And I literally just pinged him. I was like, sorry. And I just went back to work.
I hate to admit, sometimes a meeting can be an email. Everyone said it, but come on, we know it.
If that meeting was under 10 minutes, could have been an email.
Could have been an email.
Sometimes, I'm going to give the option that I don't know everything. Sometimes the meeting needs to be a quick conversation that's easy to be done, not through an email. But then, does everyone need to be involved?
Yeah.
Clearly, you guys didn't need to be involved if it was done with and no one said anything to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't shut down the company. Everything's fine.
Did you get a memo saying what you missed?
No.
Okay, then it wasn't that important.
Exactly.
I'm not going to go on rants about meetings.
No, but hold on though. Let's go back to this whole, because you had a great about your philosophy. Okay.
Sure.
You say to me that we always talk about it, and it's true, we do. Why do you think that this is a very popular topic in the world? Because it's not just us talking about it, dude.
Of course not. Yeah.
It's absolutely everyone. I feel like our world's going through a shift, whether people are conscious about it or not.
I agree.
What do you think's driving that, Mark?
You know what?
Do you even agree with that statement? The reason why a lot of people are now waking up, whether they're awake to it or whether they're sleeping to it, there's this shift in consciousness where people are starting to realize that, and I'm all for having material things, but the most important thing is the health, that you're alive, the love, and basically allowing yourself to feel gratitude and not obsess over things that may not be going on in your life, right? I feel like there's a massive shift in our world, because even when people that we don't have like these types of conversations with, I'll hear what they're saying from their scenarios. I'm like, oh, you're actually experiencing this too. You just don't even know it. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there's the awakening of what's truly important. We're sort of coming back to what's truly important in life. Do you agree or not?
So I think it comes down to the hierarchy that you place with what's important to you. There's a way to feel that health, family, friends, work, accomplishments, all those things can be important, while play, at the same time can be an important thing, material things. I mentioned growing up in the 90s, right? I'm an 88 baby, so I can't even say I'm from the 80s. But growing up 90s, 2000s, look, I'll reference MTV here. Like watching Jackass, Bam Margera,
Actual MTV,
Rob
not what it is
Dyrdek.
now.
Yeah. You know, when we had some music on there.
TRL.
That's
a real throwback.
Live. But yeah, if we're really talking about things that I find important and what I agree with, again, my mentalities come from the 90s, 2000s era. Like, I liked watching someone like Rob Dyrdek. Maybe people might not agree with who he is as a person, but I get it. It's, from what I see, it's someone who cares about his family, but every day he lives life and says, what material thing can I buy? What have I accomplished? And how can I have a little bit more fun today?
Fuck yeah.
Like I said, man, we get one spin. The reason I like bringing go-karts and dirt bikes in on Fridays for the boys is, well, it's Friday. Let's have a good time. What else is there to do, right? Work hard, play hard. Why not?
Absolutely love that.
Yeah. Fuck it,
I got
why
to
not?
start bringing that in to my work environment.
Well, here's where let me like make because obviously what I said probably doesn't make too much sense, but what I was trying to drive the point home is I don't want to diminish the value of work, right? Of having a career, of having a purpose of what you're doing when you're at a job, so to speak, right? But at the same time, I feel like what I'm trying to say is our fathers and mothers generation and our grandparents' generation, for whatever reason, I'm not shitting on them. They have very good work ethic. They have very good ethics and morals when it comes to other things that we don't have, and we have stuff that they don't have. But I always felt like, almost knocked this over, that their generation was very much, okay, I'm here for 40 years. I fucking hate what I'm doing. I'm fucking miserable. I'm going to suck it up, but I'm still just going to maintain my misery because this is what I got to do. I got to serve the man, got to serve the system, yada, yada. And I feel like our generation is doing a good job of being like, okay, yeah, there is a purpose. We need to work hard. We need to build, create a life, build, be better. Always evolve, but we're also having that fun time. Like there's a time that I feel like our parents didn't. I feel like I can't explain it, but I feel like our parents were just very, this is what we got to do.
Well,
blah, blah, blah.
the big thing that comes from our parents and their parents is it was Great Depression, 2 world wars, and all that stuff. So they're coming from a place where they didn't have abundance. So where we're at is we have nothing really to worry about.
That's a fact.
So when you actually in a position where you don't have to worry about World War, depression, all that craziness, yeah, the world's a fucking crazy place. It's always going to be a crazy place, but we're our biggest fear is, what the hell did Trump sign today? Okay, if that's your biggest fear, your life's pretty damn easy. So I think we're in a position where we're allowed to take a step back and think, okay, cool, I can actually decompress from my fuck this job, whatever, and just deal with it to, okay, well, what's my options? And be able to dive into all the hobbies and whatnot because you have the ability to think about these things and not worry, okay, I just need to keep this job because I need to have money on the table. Yeah. I can't walk away without having stuff ready.
And that's a very good point. And yes, I was thinking about that too. Yes, they did go through a Great Depression. They did go through a World War. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like our generation has had any hard shit compared to that. But at a certain point, you have to sort of let that go. Like in the 70s, man, I get that things happen slowly when like what big shifts like that. So yeah, you're still sort of feeling the effects of World War II decades after, but at a certain point you gotta let it go. Like it's not gonna affect you at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, I still see it. I still see it to this day. Is the generation of our parents are very old school. It takes a long time to turn a cruise ship, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with the culture, but I feel like now with like the generations used to be 15 years, 12 years, something like that, 10-year gaps.
I think it's 15 to 20. I think.
I think it was,
a little closer to that.
Yeah, we'll say 15. Right. I feel like now it's more closer to 5 with how fast technology is changing.
Damn, that'd be fucking wild, bro.
That's my opinion. But because like when we grew up, we had dial-up internet, and then we had internet, but it was MySpace, and then MySpace, and now it's Facebook, and then it was Instagram, and then it was Snapchat, and now it's X, and it's all these things. Now TikTok's out. We didn't have TikTok growing up. Now we have little kids with TikTok.
Yeah, that's true.
But the kids now are growing up with smartphones. We had no cell phones back in the day. You went to your friend's house, you called their house line, hey, I'll be there. And then if you didn't show up in an hour, like, I don't know where he is.
No, it's true. And I just want to clarify something. I do like old school values. Mm-hmm. I do. And I do like the loyalty of that generation. I'm not crapping on your older generation.
Got to clarify. Cancel Joe.
No, I don't even care. Cancel me if you want, bro. If I'm not canceled after 167, bro, you're never canceling me. The shit I've said on this show. But like, yes, our generation as millennials, we're all millennials. I'm 92, you're 91, 90, so you're 88. Bro, our generation ain't fucking perfect. We have our shit, but I do that you did bring up some very good points there with that. So yeah, we are fortunate enough.
Yeah. So I think that's where the back to your original question. I think that's where the culture shift's coming, is that things are happening much more faster. So now we're we're in positions where we're getting all the information. Granted, there's a lot of chaos that comes with that. But with all this technology, we're provided all this information. So like your fish tank hobbies, back to the conversation how it started. How much of that was you going on YouTube and internet and ChatGPT and whatnot and finding out information?
So yeah, we could touch on that a little bit. A lot of it was just going online and finding information. Yeah. But I want to revert back to what you guys were talking about. I'd say I agree and disagree. I think the internet may have provided too much quote unquote information to the masses.
Don't disagree with that either.
I think it makes sense that people are waking up, but surprisingly, I hold a little bit more of a traditional and old school mentality than I thought I did. I'm still a, by your bootstraps kind of guy. There is a lot we can think about nowadays, that we don't have the same, okay, we'll call it the Great Depression and World War, but we do have recessions now in the industry we're in. We understand that, right? We do have different wars going on around in the world. I think it comes down to how you approach everything on a day-to-day basis and really what information you choose to take in. Like, that's what affects our day-to-day lives. So there's too many people out there on Instagram. We're talking about Instagram and TikTok. I haven't been on social media, and I'd say the last couple of years. I've made a post maybe 2 years ago when I went go-karting.
I wish I could do that.
I don't see it doing much for us, right?
I agree.
Social media was fun when we had videos about cats and badgers and E-Bombs World and Newgrounds. Let's bring it back to that.
Dude, let me tell you, man, that was the classic days of the internet. And that's when, like, David go to the dentist. You've seen that video?
No.
You haven't seen David? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Is
the
this
kid
real life?
Is this real life?
You haven't seen that?
Oh, the kid that was on anesthesia or
Yeah.
something?
David goes to the dentist.
Yeah, I've seen that. Okay.
I showed my coworkers, and they had no clue what it was. Granted, they're older.
Well, hold on. Let's continue this conversation. I just want to make one caveat to that, though.
Sure.
I agree. I do agree that the too much excess, like, stay informed, not consumed, right? And social media, there are bad parts of it, but there's also great parts of it. And I will caveat, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. There's a reason why we are able to do what we're doing right now is because I'm able to post, or we are able to post on Instagram, on YouTube. So there's positives to it, sure. But I do agree that there is a little bit of it's gone a little bit overboard. Like, it's way too crazy. Like you said, back in the day when we were going on E-Bombs World, Newgrounds, I was like, this shit was funny. Now it was crazy.
Fun. It was fun.
I'll also argue this, though. And just to play devil's advocate here.
Sure.
The amount of information that we are privy to, sure, there's misinformation, whatever you want to fucking call these terms to say.
There's a lot of shit out there.
Yeah. But now we're able to know without getting political, because I know we don't. I mean, unless we want to talk, I have no problem.
No, we don't need to talk about that today.
But there are a lot of ways that we are able. There is a reason why the mainstream media is now failing because now their lies are being exposed because of social media being able to. Someone brings up the receipts and spreads that information to expose the truth. So that's one good part. Two, being able to share content. But other than that, I agree. Like, it's bad. Like, the fact that I am programmed, and it's not just me, I am programmed to right after here, when we say our goodbyes and you go home, I am literally programmed to, okay, what do I do? I got to go visit my parents, right? Yeah, let me go visit my parents. Oh, okay, now I'm scrolling. And that's on me.
Yeah.
And that's a bad part of social media.
So I think social media has taken hold of a lot of people. I'd say that's where a lot of my hobbies come from. I'm tired of the social media thing, the 90s thing, right? You brought it up. You liked going out and riding the e-bike around the parking lot.
Fuck yeah.
The reason that I do stuff like that, the reason I'm still so behind the mentality of like Rob Dyrdek's Robin Big or Fantasy Factory is, we all talk about nostalgia, especially millennials. You know, there's people who still talk about their Beanie Babies or Pokemon like myself or whatever the case may be. But what I think is truly missing is the feeling we used to have of knocking on a friend's door, going to ride my bike, and just finding something to do that day. No phone, no wallet, no keys. I just need something to do, and I'm just going to enjoy life. Mm-hmm. So though there are a lot of, responsibilities nowadays, I think people need to go back to just touching grass, staying off social media. The internet does give us too much, I'd say, access to what we believe is information. It's a lot of words on the internet. Not all of it's, information that's really going to be all that helpful. And that's what's helped me put the phone down.
Mental junk food.
Yeah. It is literally like, whenever there's something like that I question, like, how am I going to say this? Let's use social media. We lived so many years without social media and life was great, right?
Yep.
Right? And we didn't need it. Right? Just like when our parents would go on dates, they would go up to the house and drive to the house, and the man would get out and open the door for the lady, go up, shake the dad's hand, say hello to the mother. Come on. Right? They didn't need cell phones. They didn't need text. Oh, so-and-so hasn't texted me yet. They're probably cheating on me. Really? No. How about that's a ridiculous fucking assumption to make? That's probably false, most likely false, because guess what? There was a time where you would talk on the phone, see each other when you saw each other in real life. You didn't need a text. But you see how life changed now that we have that. We have that blessing, but we have the ability to communicate the way we do, which again is good and bad, right? Now you become dependent on it. Why didn't they text me? Why didn't they text me back? What's going on? It's like, dude, they have a life outside of texting you.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy.
I think a lot of that comes down to accountability, self-control, mentality, right? So we can touch on that a couple different places here.
Go.
So that comes with the mentality of, okay, can I control my own mind and try and understand if that text matters? I like to zoom out on a lot of scenarios, go, well, they didn't text me. Okay, probably doesn't matter that much. It's low-level stuff. I'm not worried about it. Also with the cell phone thing, you say that, there's a time that, people didn't need their cell phones. I would say as my friend, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Of course.
Absolutely.
As my
You're
friends,
more than welcome to come back whenever you want.
For, any of your audience here, what do you have to lose? Put down the cell phone, see what happens.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm a one step at a time kind of guy. Walk out of the house later, leave the cell phone, see what happens. For an hour, just go for a walk, see what happens.
Dude, literally, no. I honestly, I need to take back my
challenge accepted.
No, seriously.
I'll wait until it's warm out.
Oh, no, I've actually,
being a bitch,
bro. I won't say it here, but I am an open book. But I'm doing a challenge. It's not even a challenge. It's just this is what I need to do. I'm already on day 3 or 4, and every time that something comes up when I'm alone that says, hey, let's take it out and do that, I go, nope. Like something like, just because in the beginning of the day, without going into it, right? Because in the beginning of the day, I'm able to say, hey, day this of know this, put 2 and 2 together. When it does come that time where like I have this habitual action to go, hey, let's do it. Nope, I already said day 4, and I'm not fucking this up. So yeah, I've already done it in one area of my life, and it's just like definitely gonna help me for the better.
Let's speak candidly here. I heard you curse just now, so I'm just gonna shoot the shit with you, right? But when it comes down to, all right, it's day whatever of not doing this particular thing, all right, just don't do the thing. I talk in analogies, and I speak very bluntly, especially when it comes to work. You notice that I can be a bit abrasive, but what do you have to lose? Don't be a bitch.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, it's so true. And this one is going to definitely help me. And it really is coming down to like, you say don't be a bitch, and sure, there is time and place for don't be a bitch, but it's literally just having accountability. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just having accountability over my actions. I'm very much of the, I get that shit just happens. I get that people do certain things and things happen, but I'm of the mindset where the reason why it happened is because of all the habitual thoughts that have built up in your brain over time, in your entire life, all of your experiences now lead you to where you are today. Someone said this on the podcast, I think it was Phil. Every little choice he has made led him to come to that podcast again for the 4th time. Mm-hmm. Everything that happens to you is, I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but I think it's in our control. What does that mean? That means you just control here. That's the thing. You're not controlling anyone else. You're not putting a spell on anyone else. You're just controlling here. And when you really want to talk about extreme ownership that this whole fucking world talks about, it's about controlling here. You're responsible for your brain. You're responsible for your thoughts. So get a fucking hold of it. And that's literally what I tell myself every day.
If I can,
tell them.
If I can hop back in here, it's extreme ownership to the T, like to every period at the end of every sentence. It comes down to what do you do on an everyday basis. Sure, things happen, right? There's always exceptions to the rule. I don't like to believe everything is black and white. I've tried that for a long time. I've learned along the way that it's not. Accidents happen. You can't control everything.
Absolutely.
But I can control if I'm going to have that extra half a glass of water versus a Coke. I can't control if I'm going to pick up the phone for the next 10 seconds or just get back to my job. Yeah. Or if I'm going to take that walk for lunch or if I'm just going to kind of veg out for 10 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, even, we talked about it before that breakup with experiences I had prior to where we work now. I've tried to do the whole small business thing. It didn't work well. I've lost a friend in the process, but every step, every action has gotten me to where I am today. And I think that's, part of the beauty of what we get to experience here in this world. Everything we do is going to affect the next day. The sun's always going to come up, but wherever we end up is truly, in our own hands. So positive or negative, I'm the one who got myself here and no one's going to get me in or out of it but me.
But that's the beauty, because I agree with you 100%. A lot of people will think, oh, I'm 30 something years old, because you were always told, if you don't know what you're doing by 30, you're fucked. It's like, get out of here. If you're not looking on, I'm doing the go fuck yourself type shit.
I think you're blocking with your big head.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But the best thing at what you said there, because I agree 100% with that. I got myself in here. I can get myself out of here. It's just about doing it, man, because that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is if you come to a point where you're like, wow, all this happened, all these choices led me to here. A weak person, weak is a bad word. Someone who succumbs to the negativity is going to be, oh, okay, that's it. I'm fucked. I fucked it up and I can't come back from this. Where someone who's going to evolve strong is going to say, okay, now it's time to get myself out of this and I'll find a way. And I'm going to trust and have faith in God. I say God, people say universe, same shit. I'm going to have faith in God that he's going to allow me to do it, but I'm going to go and do it. So, yeah, I agree with you. You got yourself there, you can get yourself out. And that's positive or negative. Like, that's positive or negative. You got yourself in the negative situation, you got yourself in the positive situation. With the positive one, make sure you don't go back to the negative. With the negative one, get the fuck out of the negative and go to the positive. And yeah, sometimes shit happens. But also you can control your reaction to it. If someone says something, right, and you have a dominant belief, like let's just say someone texts you something that's very nice. So you respond. They don't respond. The first thing is, oh my God, why aren't they responding? But you should look back at the text and be like, wait a second, no. They're not mad at me. They're not this and that. Look at that beautiful thing they said to me. It's always a control of you always are going to perceive something, and that's how it's going to be shown to you.
It's very easy to perceive negative things. I mean, think about the news here, boys. There's a reason that nowadays everything's so, to try and get visceral reactions out of the general public, in my opinion. We don't hear stories about a very successful lemonade stand in a small town or, kids that raised money for this, one particular charity. It's always something negative. So I think it's more about perspective. I turn a lot of that stuff off.
I don't watch the news anymore.
I try not to watch the news as much anymore. I try to stay informed, but I try to turn all the other stuff off because at the end of the day, it really just comes down to what I'm going to do every day. I was thinking about, I had a thought this morning about people who are just nihilistic. It's just something that struck my brain. Yeah, where life is pretty just meaningless overall.
Oh, I can't say I hate that. I don't hate them. I don't like that mindset, but continue.
We're in a world where if you're paying attention to social media, there's a lot of people that feel that way, where none of this matters, where there's so many negative things going on, especially in our country. I'm big on the USA boys.
Yeah, you're in the right place, baby.
Yeah, that's right. But, a lot of people think that life is meaningless. It's really not. It comes down to the meaning that you put into it and what you feel like doing every day. Because at the end of the day, I still have to take that next breath. I'm still going to do something after this. So whether or not I believe all of this matters or it doesn't matter. It's still going to go on. I may as well accomplish some stuff, try and help people as I go, and have a good time while I'm doing it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, the nihilistic thing is, I feel like, I don't think our culture has been doing anything different than what all our history cultures have done in the past. I think the percentages of who's nihilistic, who is optimistic, and whatnot has been, it's constantly in flux. But I can definitely tell the last decade or so is people have been more nihilistic, and I think that's just the highlight of social media and the news and how politicalized everything's been. Politicized. Thank you. Where's Phil when we need him?
Yeah, right.
So everything's based on politics and anger and hate, and it's not the lemonade stand in the middle of the country doing well or whatever the case. It's not the positive stuff, and so I think there's a lot of cultural shifts that's been happening over the last decade or so that's been negative, in my sense of the word, of what I believe is negative in of the news being negative, and like the family values and just overall values in life, like the rise of OnlyFans and it's stuff along those, but stuff along those lines.
Oh my God, we get it.
But stuff along those lines is why there's been a lot of the moral fabric's been decaying. But I also think in the last decade, so maybe the last 20 years, it's been that transition to that. But I feel like in the last 10 years, it's been a slow turn, but a lot of people transitioning off of that. And I feel like the last couple of years, a lot of people talk about how no one drinks anymore. I have some coworkers like, no one wants to go to happy hour anymore. It's like people don't want to go get drunk every night, and people still do. There's are a lot, but I feel like the percentage of people doing that, they're not spending their life working nonstop and then drinking nonstop and doing it all again. They're going and enjoying the hobbies now, going to live their life. So I feel like the last decade has been people starting to wake up to, we don't need to have that nihilistic view anymore, the negative, pessimistic view. We can go and explore and enjoy life. And I don't think it's perfect. I don't think everyone's doing it, but I feel like it's a slow turn of people starting to go that direction.
Tim, I'd have to agree with you on that. That's what I see as well. I don't have as many friends going to the bar anymore. When I have a drink, I'm going to have a drink amongst friends, or I'm going to have a smoke. It's a smoke amongst friends. It's not about partying.
Do you want more or no?
Would you like another one?
I'll take a little bit more because I definitely need to function later, but I'll take a little bit more.
Yeah, let's have a little more.
All right, keep going.
Do you guys want to take a 10-minute break?
No, 10-minute break?
Short break.
Do you need to go?
Yeah.
Just go. Yeah, we don't have to edit that out. Yeah, no. We're going to continue the show. Continue what you're saying. He just got to go to the bathroom. That's all. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna pour some more, but do what you're saying. So you said that sure you have friends, and when you have a drink, that's where we left off.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say I do agree that there is a little bit of a turn when it comes down to people starting to shift away from some of these negative things like drinking. I think there can be. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. I think there is a social aspect to things like drinking. What I do like seeing nowadays is, I think over the last few years, people are starting to make that shift to figure out what's more important in life as a whole. And some of the nihilism is starting to die down. But I think social media does have a very negative impact where you can end up in an echo chamber of all that negativity. Whereas there's a much better spin on life, if you ask me, right? If we go to extreme accountability, if it comes down to what am I doing to make myself better every day? How do I help the people around me? Like, that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
And I hope to raise my kids like that one day, where it's respect your elders, respect yourself, and do what you can to help the old lady across the street just for the sake of doing it. Take care of your family, take care of your kin, take care of your neighborhood. And if everyone continues to start moving down that path again, I think overall as a whole, the country's going to go in a great place. We're going to go in a great direction. I think everyone's going to be a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But it does come down to looking in the mirror every day and saying, I like who I see in the mirror. And I like who that person's becoming.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And then if you don't, right, because there are some people who don't, let's be honest, right? Okay. Be like, okay, I don't like what I see in the mirror. I'm going to do something about it. That's it. That's literally. Because then once you do, and you take that first step, circling back, taking the first step action, one day you'll look and be like, yeah, I like what I see.
Yeah.
And that's going to be from all the evolution, from doing things, trying things, living better life. And to cut back to what you were saying about when we were talking about the news and everything, by the way, without getting too much into it, I'll just say, if you are listening and you are very much informed, that's a good thing. It's by design, all the negativity. So just keep that in mind. When you're seeing it, it's by design to deteriorate society. So just to realize that it's there are good things going on, right? There are good things. You go to the store, everyone, the world will have you believe that everyone while you're shopping is your enemy. You're on one side of the spectrum or the other. It's like, no, dude, we're all just there getting our groceries. No one's my enemy. Mm-hmm. And unless someone then decides to step out of line, and in which point you have to be. I like what you said. There's a time to be violent. We were talking about that yesterday. There's always a time to be violent as a man. If you're not able to, let me choose my words wisely here. It's time to be violent in a way of self-defense, that you have to defend yourself and the ones you love, right? Outside of that, and definitely I agree that you should know how to defend yourself and be violent. That's a switch that needs to be turned on and turned off at the right time. Other than that, enjoy your life.
Sure. I mean, let's even touch on that a little bit, right? Bringing that up, the point I was making yesterday was a lot about like an appeal to something when it comes down to disagreements and conversations. People think a disagreement is always some sort of battle. It's not. We just have two sides to a conversation.
Yeah. No, it's true. We're laughing. I'll tell you why when you're done with your point.
I'll tell you why too.
Sure. So
that's an off-air comment.
one of the things about like bringing up violence, I'm a bit traditional. A man has to have the capacity and the ability to be violent, like a truly violent man. You know when you see one. Mm-hmm. It's not one that needs to bark all that much. But the reason that I brought that up yesterday is, when it comes down to a lot of disagreements and debates, there has to be an appeal to something. You're appealing to reason, you're appealing to religion, or you're going to appeal to violence. At some point, when there are two sides to any story or any debate, any argument here, we have to appeal to some sort of scale. And it is interesting that if we bring it back to, I'd say almost like an animalistic nature, at the end of the day, if we don't appeal to reason or discussion, it appeals to violence, and it comes down to who's willing to be more violent when you need to be.
Yeah, no, I like that. It is true. It's always the ones who, like the ones who truly know how to be violent, and there's levels to it, right? Just because you train doesn't mean that sure, violence, but there's levels to it, right? But the ones who really are the ones that are quote unquote dangerous in a good way. Dangerous in a good way, right? Not psychotic, going serial killer. Dangerous in a good way. They don't have a need to bark. They don't have a need to just show it. They live their life. And you're like, oh, okay. You feel it. You feel the energy. You're like, you're a fucking badass. And I know where Greg Anderson. Mm-hmm. I always reference him. Great guy. Has his own podcast and he owns his own jiu-jitsu gym. And he goes, the jiu-jitsu mat is the best way. In his opinion, is the best way to know, where you are on the hierarchy. You know where you are on the hierarchy when it comes to like the jiu-jitsu mat. And it's like, oh yeah, that man, I can, if I wanted to, do bad things to that person, but I'm not going to. He didn't say it this way. I'm now putting words. These are my words. I can do something to this man or this woman, right? But I'm not going to, because I'm not a fucking psychopath, right? And it's like, oh, that person, that guy, I rolled with that guy many times. That guy could kill me if he wanted to, but he's not going to, unless, you know what I mean? Because they have it under control. And that's where it's like, all right, you take your ego, which everyone has. We touched upon this yesterday, but you control it in a way. You curtail it.
You manage it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. There was something I was going to touch on.
Was it about the not always having to have an argument?
No, we're going full circle. I was going to bring it back full circle. I don't remember.
It's gonna come like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna be off topic too.
Yeah.
But it was on the topic of bringing it back full circle of this is what it was. The people that do feel the need to bark, right, and be, I'll say mean, to be kind of generic. It comes back to like the hobbies that you're going to do. Why are you putting effort into being negative and into the direction of I don't like people, or I'm going to be bad, I'm going to be in a bad mood, whatever the case may be. Why not just direct that into doing the stuff you want to enjoy in life? So every time people go the route of fuck you, or just trying to bark and yell and be, this boisterous person for no fucking reason, why not go the route that's going to bring you joy and happiness and lack of a better term, pleasure? Like a hobby is going to bring you joy and pleasure. Like, why not go that route instead of just barking at people?
Sure. I mean, maybe I might even catch a little bit of heat on this one with my mentality of it, but to me, that's such low level stuff.
Yeah,
nowadays, when people get that level of angry, like everyone gets mad on the road, right? But when you have that level of road rage where you're willing to pick a fight, it's low level stuff. It's a quote I've gotten from another podcaster. I like watching podcasts. Don't want to name it, don't want to drop. But it's, if you zoom out far enough, you can't see the earth.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
I say that constantly now. It's something I've adopted. A lot of stuff is very low level. There comes a time and a place to, show your teeth. You don't need to bark. You don't need to put on this whole show. I think that's what social media has done. It's gotten us to a place where everyone needs to put on a show or put on this front. But let's get a little nerdy here. Let's think old Clint Eastwood. Let's think Uncle Iroh from Avatar. Let's think Master Roshi. Like, those are some of the toughest characters in their shows and their genres. And it's just about, oh, you got to respect that old man. Like, there's a reason he still does what he does. Like, he's a tough guy and he doesn't have much to say. He's just out here trying to watch his birds.
Yeah. Literally, like,
yeah.
What's it called? Like, live and let live type mentality. Until you give me a reason where I need to put you in the place, I'm not going to go seeking it. And one thing, too, fuck, you said something now. God, no, it was just on this topic. It's embarrassing that I'm forgetting this. This is literally like 5 seconds before you said that.
That's what makes us so candid.
Yeah, right? Exactly. What was the quote from the podcaster?
Zoom out and you won't see Earth.
If you zoom out far enough, you can't see the Earth.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I got it. Perfect. All right. So it was because of road rage, right? So this happened like 3 months ago, and I was in the wrong. Okay. So no, I'll be very candid. Talking about being able to control, right? Fortunately, because I train at the capacity that I do, it's made me a lot calmer. I don't care anymore to prove anything. I used to to myself. I used to try to prove to myself. I don't care anymore because now I know what I can and can't do. So I was making a left here. Actually, you're going to pass the road when you go to 287. But I was making a left to go to the gym. Okay. And yes, should I have stopped at the yellow light because there was a lot of traffic? Yes. I didn't see the one car, so I thought I had enough room to make the left turn and I would be out of everyone's way. Well, turns out no. And I'm sort of sticking out on the road, so I'm in the wrong. And the guy obviously now has to go around and I'm being a nuisance. Now, that's annoying. Okay. All of a sudden I just hear, this fucking asshole doesn't know how to fucking drive. And he's like, look, and like, I don't care. I'm keeping my head forward. I don't care. But he's like, it's obviously me. Like, if this asshole knew how to fucking drive, went away. I was like, all right, yeah, I could let that anger me. I just let it go. Cause I was like, dude, you really want to fuck with me right now? And like, let's just say, let's just say I decided to pick a fight. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Does he carry? Does he have a knife?
Yeah.
Does he have a bat? Right. And then let's just say that and I don't think this guy knew how to fight because he wouldn't say that. But let's just say, yeah, all right, fuck it. I'm going to teach this dude a lesson. Turns out to be some former UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Or MMA fighter. Now my head's bashing against the ground, right? So I was like, all right, cool. I know I can probably 99% fuck that guy up outside of a gun or a weapon, outside of him being a professional fighter. So what's there to prove for me? Yeah, I was in the wrong too. Like, what am I going to escalate this because I was in the wrong? Like, it is what it is, dude.
If I can ask you, Joe, what dialed back your road rage there?
The fact that I now know what it feels like to be underneath a man who is fucking trying to choke me out, and I have been kicked, I have been punched, I've been lit up with 5-piece combos, I've been double blasted, I have had I've had to tap out many times where if it wasn't a training match, someone's putting me to sleep and I'm going to die because if it's the real life, they're not going to fucking honor the tap, right? I'm going to be dead. People about to snap my limbs, but I tap and they let go. I know what it feels like to be in a scenario where I can be very severely hurt. There's no reason for me to do that to someone else unless you don't want to back down. You want to hurt me or my family or my friends or the ones I love, then I'm going to fucking do a different thing. But other than that, I know what it feels like. And on the off chance that I pick the fight's the wrong word because I'm not picking the fight, but I respond and the person now has a weapon, I'm killed, is better trained than me, I'm in trouble, right? Like, I know what it feels like. There's no point to it.
I want to bring it back to self-accountability because that makes me think of just mentalities I've had even in my younger years. But first off, I tell you this, we work together. Right? I tell you this on a regular basis. I say this to a lot of just friends in general. I'm a reductionist. I try to keep things very basic. With that incident, what would make sense to me is I keep it extremely basic in that. You don't get to be wrong and an asshole at the same time.
I like it. Yeah.
I love that line. That's fucking awesome.
You don't get to be wrong and an asshole.
You only get to be one, right? You don't get to be wrong and angry. If you're wrong, then you got to shut up and go, all right, well, I got to bite my tongue. I was the asshole. I was in the crosswalk.
Yeah.
He gets to be the angry one. Sorry. Only one person gets to be in the angry boat.
Yeah.
So you're wrong. He gets to be angry. We all move on with that. And even boiling it down even further, right? Because, man, where was I going? Saying it came down to like a younger years mentality, but it's a lot of just self-accountability. Oh, I remember. You're talking about being on the mat. As I've grown, somehow I've revisited this self-accountability part of my mentality. And I like what you just said about, well, I know what it feels like. The way I walk through life on a daily basis is, this sounds very extreme, but you know me, I like to make analogies, right? There's a reason you shouldn't hurt someone. There's a reason you shouldn't stab someone. Have you ever fallen and skinned your knee before? And I wish this is how people would think. Have you fallen and skinned your knee? Probably.
Too many times.
It bled. It didn't feel great, right? Then as an individual, what I should be able to ascertain from that situation is, oh, that cut doesn't feel good. So going forward, every day in the rest of my life, I should be thinking, don't punch and or stab that guy for something low level because I've skinned my knee before. It doesn't feel great, which means that's not going to feel great. So there's no reason for me to go down that road.
Yeah, no, it's a very good mindset to have.
It's very basic. I wish more people would go down to the basics. A lot of people say I argue from a level that's, oh, you're always just boiling things down. Well, yeah, let's make it as black and white as possible. It makes the answer and the conversation a lot easier and a lot clearer.
But hold on, now I want to flip it. Now I want to ask you a question. Sometimes I think that I am a little too, I don't say enough. And here's the example I'll give. Now I'm going to give the flip example where I wasn't in the wrong, okay? It actually happened, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday this week. You both know how to get into the garage, right? You just did it.
Yeah.
That same exact garage. Cool. You notice how there was a little dip in the road where you're able to park if you're waiting for someone, if you're an Uber driver, right? Okay. So you don't block the fucking entrance, right?
Sure.
Okay.
This is what gets my blood boiling.
Okay, now here's where, and this is where you're gonna understand where I think, and this is what I want to ask you guys. Maybe sometimes I should say something. So I'm coming up, and this guy is in a car as big as yours, SUV, right? So it's not small. And I think he's just waiting for someone. To be honest with you, it's night. Could have been a girl. I don't know. I'm just assuming it's some dude. And he's got half of that fucking entrance blocked. And I'm like, dude, like, I just see this. I'm like, bro, you can't be stupid. Like, what is going on? So I'm like, what are you doing? And I go around him, and I'm like, all right, I have enough room. My Honda can get in here. So I just go in there. And, like, I don't beat my horn. I don't flip him off. I don't even, like, I bet you he didn't even see what I was trying to do. But I stopped a little bit. I'm like, bro, you got to move back. That's what I was doing. But he couldn't see it. And I just went. And I'm like, now this is where I'm thinking to myself, like, why didn't I just park my car, get out? I was like, hey, how you doing? You might just want to move the car back, please. It got a little hard to get in. If I had a bigger car, I wouldn't be able to get in. You're blocking the way. Have a nice night. And just go. But I didn't do that. And the reason why I didn't do that is because I was like, I didn't care. Like, it wasn't even a big deal. I was able to get in. Let me just go in. I'm tired as fuck from training. I want to shower. I want to eat and go to bed. But it's like, sometimes I feel like I should have just, like, parked the car and been like, hey, what's going on, man? Can you please just move your car back a little bit? Thank you. And then just go back in my car. I don't know why sometimes I don't do that. Maybe if it's like a low level thing, it's not a big deal. He wasn't really doing anything bad. He was just dumb.
Inconsiderate. Probably most likely dumb.
Yeah.
Some people are just oblivious. Yeah, dude, I don't have a opinion either direction. I don't think it's wrong to say something, but I also think that the way to say it is the key. If you go up, yo, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
back the fuck
I
up.
wouldn't
That's
do
not
that.
good.
That's not good.
But it's having the I don't know. I don't know how I would have presented that information in a constructive way. Like, I don't think I have the capacity, because that shit pisses me off a lot. Because you're being blatantly inconsiderate, and either you're too stupid to realize, or you do realize and don't care. And which one's worse?
Yeah, and like
The obliviousness or the intentional lack of care for other people.
And it's like, I know how I would have presented it is the exact way, because I've done it before.
Yeah.
So I have done it before. But like, I know the exact way I would have presented it and been like, hey, how you doing? Hey, can you please just back this up a little bit? It was hard for me to get in. You're blocking the way. And then here's the problem. If that person responded, fuck you, then
That's the issue.
Then that's where it's like, would I have had the ability to be like, all right, go fuck yourself and leave?
See, that's where you're like, oh, fuck me. Okay, I'll call 911 and report you.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. It's not a 911 thing.
Well, let me rephrase that. If the guy starts to mouth off and like gets intense, if he just says "fuck you," okay, whatever.
Here's the thing, because I know, and I like
It's very funny to me.
No, but here's the thing. Here's where the ego comes in, because if I did do that, let's just say I did do that, and the guy goes, "Go fuck yourself, pal," rolls up the window. The response to that is, the response I would want to do is fucking open his door and beat the shit out of him, right? It's not sane. That is not the right response. Here's an example. Frankie Edgar.
Can we
Yeah.
sidebar?
Yeah.
Maybe not open his door, beat the shit out of him, but I think a visceral response is a pretty correct response in that scenario.
Yes. 100%. Yes, like, hey, what'd you say? Like, go fuck yourself. Why don't you move your fucking car back, asshole, and then leave? Something like
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Or I don't disagree, because that's probably what I would do. But I think the better response is that necessary?
Yeah.
Is that necessary, dude? I'm trying to be polite here. You don't have to be rude.
But here's the thing.
Love that.
Yes.
Be the stoic.
100%.
That's the actual better route.
You guys both know who Frankie Edgar is?
Yeah.
Okay. UFC legend, right? Yeah. I'm stealing this from his podcast, where he said, I saw this on a short on an Instagram reel. And it's the reason why the right response is to diffuse it, right? And it's not to just open the door and beat the shit out of him, right? He was at the gym, workout gym. Frankie Edgar's not a big dude. I've met him in real life. Doesn't mean that he won't kill you, and doesn't mean he won't kill someone who's 6'7", big meathead who doesn't know how to fight. He'll kill him, right? But he was at the gym. And you know those guys at the gym. I'm gonna go on a little rant here, and if you're listening and you're one of these people, stop fucking doing it. You know those guys at the gym who decide that they're gonna do a superset and take every machine and put their weight on there, and then be on their phone, and then you're on this machine, and then when you go to that machine, they're like, "Oh no, I'm on that machine." It's like, bud, you're not on that machine. Go fuck yourself. So he went up to a machine. Sees 2 45-pound plates on it. Looking around, not seeing anyone. No one was on the machine. He's asking around. People are like, I don't know. Somebody open. All right, cool. So he goes on the machine. He starts doing the thing. So big dude, I guess he didn't know who Frankie Edgar was, comes over and goes, "Do you not look? Do you not see that there was weights on it?" And he goes, "Oh, bro, yeah, there was no one here, so I just didn't I didn't know if anyone was on it. Like, cool if I work in." And he's like, "Oh, you just don't look." And he was like trying to start something with Frankie Edgar, which is dumb. And Frankie's response was like, "Oh, you're being serious?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Fuck you, man." And then just walks away. And that guy probably was like, "Yeah, I fucking showed that little man who it is." It's like, no, dude, you just had your life saved because he decided to have. But you see where I'm like, that's where it comes back to. It's like, if someone does come back, sure, his visceral response was, "Man, fuck that, fuck you," and just walked away.
Oh, he could have lit him up.
He could have lit him up, but it wasn't in his face. He was like, "All right, man, fuck this. I don't need to." And that's where it's like, it's to hear a UFC legend who could kill somebody say that, it makes it like that should be always the thing, is like, you don't need this violence. But we're men, dude. There are some times where something happens and someone does you wrong, and you take that right way out, but it doesn't feel like it was the right way out. It's like a lie.
Yeah. It's not always perfect solutions.
Yeah. No, that's really impressive. It's especially when it comes down to fighters, right? I'm lucky enough to not be on paper a trained fighter. I just like to fight. But that's not going to get me in trouble, which works. But yeah, that guy had his life saved that day. I think it comes down to the self-accountability of Frankie Edgar just saying, you know what, I'm over it. It's not a big deal because it's low-level stuff. But I hate to admit I am the type to also think that it does come down to checking people from time to time. Because if we're all on the same page, we're not ever going to have any problems. So, yeah, in that scenario, right, let's boil it down to the basics. I'm someone that speaks that way on a regular basis. You don't get to be right and the asshole, or wrong and the asshole. You're using 19 machines. If you're going to superset 2 machines, great. Any other gym head's going to say, all right, cool, he's supersetting, that's fine. If you're taking up 4 different machines, sorry, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You don't get to be wrong in the asshole in this scenario. Superset 2, that's fine. Everyone's going to let you slide outside of that. There's a part of me that says, yeah, he should have got lit up and he should have got checked. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, not enough people get punched in the face anymore. Like I've said, I've gone through my own life experiences, right? And part of one of those things, one of my most proud moments is someone that I'm cordial with to this day, but a bully I had in high school. And it went from, okay, I could walk away from this, or this guy's bigger than me, I'm going to rock him in the face anyway.
Which I think is actually the right response. For the bully, put your bully in the place and they'll respect you.
Correct. Yeah, you got to be willing to stand your ground. Sometimes you got to be willing to fight. And to me, if I really dial it back and thinking about who I was in those days as well, it's you don't get to be an asshole here. So now you got to deal with my shit. So even for you, right, when that guy wasn't parked correctly, I think it's fair for you to say something. And I think his response, if we were all reasonable people here, if everyone was as intelligent as we should be in an age of information, if you were to say something as a normal person, his response should be, you know what, I'm in the wrong here. Yeah, that's fair. I should move my car. Because at the end of the day, yeah, I'd agree with you. It's this inconsideration for other people. The reason I have road rage isn't because I just want to be angry all the time. It's sometimes I ride a motorcycle. I've lost friends on motorcycles. I'm a guy who likes sports cars. When you're not using your blinker and you're not paying attention, we've all had to take the same test. You're being wildly inconsiderate to everyone else's life, which means at this point, yours near doesn't matter. If you have to deal with me because I'm angry someday, you didn't have to deal with me until you did something stupid. Now it's on you.
Stupid, inconsiderate, selfish. Doesn't necessarily, I guess technically it would be stupid, but being the inconsiderate person, that's 90% of the time when I get road rages. You're being inconsiderate. You don't own the road. No one. I get this argument with my coworker about the left lane speeding. He's from PA. What do you think he does? He sits in the left lane.
Oh, yeah.
But because he does 78 miles an hour, he thinks he's fine.
Left lanes are passing. If you're not passing, get out of the left lane.
Exactly. Well, that's my whole argument here. Well, you shouldn't be doing 90. I go, but you shouldn't be doing 78.
You're also not doing the right thing.
Yeah,
so.
I was like, but like your arbitrary thing is you're less bad because you're not speeding more. So it
12
does,
miles per hour don't really.
I was like, and that's the whole point. Is like it doesn't matter what you're saying on the speed. You could be doing 65 and the person behind you could be doing 55 and the person behind you is doing 65. They're trying to pass you. Doesn't mean you have to push people out of the way to move over. When you can move over, and when you're done passing, move back over. Let people go. Let people go. Just let people go.
I'd hate to have to argue this because I'm on your side for this one,
Yeah.
and it's probably not going to sit well for your buddy. But at the end of the day, if you're both wrong,
Yeah.
you both being wrong doesn't affect him.
Yeah.
Either way, he's still doing the wrong thing. Get out of the fucking way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Regardless, whether you're on the road or at the grocery store or whatever, get out of people's way. If you can get out of their way, get out of the way.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what it is. Just let people go. Like when you're coming out of an elevator, right?
Yeah.
And you're waiting for the elevator. Are you standing in the doorway? No,
you
stand
get
off
on
to
the
the
side.
side so people can come fucking out.
Yeah.
Let them go, and then you can go in. You going on the elevator first is not going to let you get moving because they're not going to let that door
Thank
close
you.
until they get out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's there's a reason why there's manners, right? It's a standard procedure of, okay, it's polite to stand off to the side and let people out of the elevator first so that you can get on. Because if you go first, they have to come out. And now people, if it's a tight elevator, now everyone's got to be shimmying around. If you just give people room to move and let people go, everything moves faster and easier.
Let me challenge this. I don't even think it's about manners. I sometimes like to think I'm intelligent enough. It's about efficiency.
Well, yeah. Well, you're speaking to the choir on that. I'm an engineer.
I also play hockey.
Yeah.
Like guys that have to get in or get out, like there's a protocol with who goes in, who gets out, and who's in the way. So yeah, when it comes to things like elevators, when it comes down to who do you let go to yield, follow the sign. everyone gets to drive a lot smoother that day.
Yeah.
The reason I get so mad when I get cut off is it's not just that you cut me off. Now you cut me off and I got to slow down. I didn't have to touch my brakes. Now that guy behind me's got to touch his brakes, and the guy behind him has to touch his brakes. So your stupidity, your lack of consideration for other people has ruined 4 other people's moments. So if anything, I like to talk about positives and negatives in the world. To me, everything's an investment. I actually don't think we've had this conversation before, Joe, but to me, every relationship's even an investment. It comes down to, what am I bringing to the table? Is there a positive outcome after this? So when it comes down to everyday actions, it's, what am I bringing to the world, right? If I just get out of the way or let someone else cross the street, has it made everything easier for the world as a whole? Is it a net positive? Then that was the right choice to make.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
I agree.
We with the relationships, that sort of plays into the conversation we had yesterday. Teamwork, roles.
Yeah.
Agree on the roles. What you guys want to do. Be a team. Help each other out. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it doesn't take a mechanic to know when your car is not fucking working. I love that phrase. So true. Relationships. The only difference between a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and a friendship, you're not fucking your friend. Right? You know what I mean? Like, and obviously that's a generic statement. Sure, there's differences, but the way you psychologically approach it and the humane aspect of it, there's no difference, right? Just be a team, be efficient, help out, try to make it the most, efficient's a good word, smooth process it can be. Obviously, you're going to disagree. Obviously, you're going to have your relationships. Everyone's out here preaching, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to work. It's like, all right, dude, just don't be an asshole, right? Don't be an asshole. That's it. Don't be an asshole.
I'm gonna do a little bit of both here. I'm a little more vulgar. Don't be a cunt.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite words.
I love it too.
Yeah.
I say this to people on a regular basis. It's got nothing to do with what's in between your legs. Don't be a cunt.
Yeah.
Right? You can be an asshole, you can be a prick, you can be a cunt. Depends on how you're acting that day. Let's talk about the relationships thing. Actually, at this point, we said something earlier. I wish I could touch back on it. Wish my fiance was here to give her own insight on it. But even for relationships nowadays, let's link that to social media as well. Everyone's trying to put on a show. There's not much of a show to put on. Mm-hmm. If you just do what you're supposed to do, if you bring to the table what you're supposed to bring to the table, relationships are very easy. Mm-hmm. Friendships are very easy. Hey, what are we doing today? Hey, do you need me to show up? Oh, what do you need me for? Great, I'll be there. That's all it takes. Just be a decent person. So in my everyday life, and hopefully this helps someone out there one day. For the partner that you find, it comes down to everyone's got their job. Again, I relate that to hockey too. Everyone's got their role. Just do your job, and the team's going to succeed. So for me and her, it's, well, what's my job? You need me to bring stuff outside? You need me to do the landscaping? You need me to be the one that goes to the door when there's a bump in the night? Great. That's my job. Outside of that, she handles the house. I provide for what I can to the house. I don't have any questions. I don't question her on what she has to do. Great. That's your domain. You handle yours. We don't fight. We don't argue. We might have one argument a year, and it lasts as long as an hour. Outside of that, we don't go to bed angry. We say, all right, we're done with that. Let's talk about it. Great. Let's move on. We got other things to do.
And that's what I was actually the point I was going to bring up. You just said it right there. When you do, because we're all human, I'm going to preach this. It doesn't mean that I've never not been an asshole, right? Like, I've been an asshole. And guess what?
Know.
And guess what? When I know, I realize it. And what I always try to do, and maybe there's been times, maybe some people are listening right now have been like, well, you didn't do it with me this time, and I'm sorry if that's the case. I always try to say sorry. Hey, I fucked up. I'm sorry about that. And I think a really bad trait that our society has is the fact that, oh, well, why are you apologizing? They didn't apologize. Like, yeah, they didn't apologize, but maybe if you just apologize, maybe they'll apologize. And if they don't,
but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You have your own integrity. If you did something wrong,
apologize.
And in every situation, this is something, a philosophy I live by. Even if you're not in the wrong, you could have handled it better, or there's something that you contributed to the situation that you didn't do perfectly, right? Say your friend did something wrong, and you got pissed about it and you confronted him and he got defensive and argued, well, maybe you could have presented it. You can still be mad about it. Be like, yo, dude, I don't like what you did. Instead of saying, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah. And then he's like, fuck you. You could have just been like, hey, man, why'd you do that? That wasn't cool. And you're like, oh, shit, sorry. So, like, there's always parts of it that you contributed to the situation. Whether, like, you're the one that caused the situation, it's not your fault, but you could have done something. You could have handled it differently. So, it's when it comes to the apologies, just because the person in the wrong didn't apologize doesn't mean that, hey, man, I'm sorry if I responded poorly.
Yeah, exactly.
That really bothered me. I apologize, though, if I didn't handle it well.
Yeah, for sure. And
helps diffuse the situation.
And just in case anyone else is thinking, because there's definitely people listening and be like, whoa, sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes people are just abusive. It's like, yes, those are outliers. We're not talking about outliers.
But even in those situations, though,
get yourself out of it.
Well, but even those situations, right? It's not the victim's fault for abuse happening.
Correct.
But there's things that you can do that maybe help the situation maybe 1% better. My whole point is it's not always black and white, but you can prevent it from happening, or you could guide the situation into not being as bad as it was, or whatever the case may be. There's things that you can always do to improve your situation. Always.
Yeah.
And that could just be a simple mindset shift of, well, this is where I'm at. I'm just going to deal with it.
Yeah.
Or, fuck, I'm going to complain and bitch and whine. So maybe that's the only thing you can change. But there's always something you can adjust to make your situation a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And that is something that you are contributing to, no matter what it is.
Yeah, it comes down a lot to, like, approaching everything as well, right? Because, look, I'll even say as someone in a relationship, like me and my fiance, we butt heads from time to time. But it really does come down to how are we approaching the situation? How do we bring it up to that other individual? Mm-hmm. I'm also a very abrasive kind of guy. I'm straightforward. I'm old school. But if I shoot you straight, you know exactly what you're going to get out of me. Mm-hmm. So that being the case, I'll even half shout out a buddy here, my buddy Rusty B. But he has taught me a lot about that. Where as abrasive as I am, as much of a straight shooter as I am, sometimes it does come down to how I'm approaching a situation as well. Mm-hmm. So whether it's relationships in family, friendships, or significant other, you do have to take the responsibility of, well, how did I approach this scenario? Did I do anything to help this, or is part of this my fault? Because at the end of the day, even earlier in our conversation, it comes down to, I am exactly where I am because I got myself here. How did I do that, and how do I get myself out of it? Or what did I do to get myself here, and how do I adjust for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. It's a lot of good shit, man. It's like the gears are now, they're turning. No, but when it comes down to it, just hold yourself accountable, man. You're gonna fuck up. You're gonna be in the wrong, right? You're never not gonna be in the wrong. Just own up to it. Move on. And then don't hold your don't think that you've ruined something because of one thing, right? Like if you did something small and you think now that relationship is ruined, it's most likely not. Don't make it that way by keep fixating on it, which is going to make you start reacting and acting in ways that will make it worse. Just hold yourself accountable. I'm sorry. That's it. I like what you said. You guys don't go to bed angry. That's important. That is so important. You want to know why that's important? From me, not an expert when it comes to the mind, but I've read a lot about it on both scientific and spiritual level and religious level. When you go to bed, whatever you're doing before you go to bed is most likely going to have a lasting impact in your subconscious, right? So if you're fucking pissed off when you go to bed, your sleep, you might get a good sleep or what, your sleep's shot. You're going to be ruined. Or you might have some bad dreams. You might dream about what it was that you were fighting about. You might not be able to fall asleep. At least don't go to bed angry. Don't play this shit. And this is one thing that pisses me the fuck off. Be very open. Don't do this thing where it's like, oh, that person should know why they fucked up. They should know why I am angry. No, they shouldn't know why you're angry. You should tell them why you're angry. And then talk it out. That's probably going to be a hard conversation. Cool. Talk it out. Let it out. Don't keep it built up. Don't go to bed angry.
You've heard this out of me, I think, pretty recently at work as well. Where where my response to a client was, well, I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah, dude, that was great. I've heard that one.
I'm not a fortune teller. What do you want me to do here?
Yeah, that was funny as shit, dude. Without getting into the specifics, what did they ask? Or what would they not ask? What were they saying?
You're part of that company. How do you not already have that information? I've already talked to 6 people over there. Look, we're in sales, right? So anyone that's listening, like, obviously, this is what we do on a regular basis. Yeah, sometimes we kind of bother people. It is what it is.
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
in sales.
Like, for sure.
But I'm also not going to approach a situation to some guy calling me on some random day and give him that level of heat. Mm-hmm. So, when the client says something like, well, why don't you have this answer? Well, I'm not a fortune teller. Where are we going to go from here? Mm-hmm. Right. I boil it down to the basics. Let's bring it down to the don't go to bed angry. What'd you get out of that? I'm willing to call you out on it. Let's see what happens next.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what else is going to happen here? Okay, great. There should have been notes on your account. There weren't. Now what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real talk. Now what? What's your next? Do you
want to give me the information so we can move forward? Or do you just want to dwell on it and throw a tantrum, basically?
I love that you brought that out. That's exactly where I follow with next. Well, you should already have it. Well, I don't.
Yeah.
So you can give it to me, or we can circle back to this, and we can keep having this conversation that you're very frustrated. I'm not very frustrated. Now what?
Yeah.
It's about black and white, and it can't be all the time. It's about efficiency, right? I don't go to bed angry. My fiance doesn't go to bed angry because now what? What are you going to get out of it?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, that whole cliche, throw it in the fucking trash if and I know people say this jokingly. I don't think anyone has ever really done it, but I don't like it either. No one's sleeping on the couch. You're not making me sleep on the couch. You got to move my 190-pound ass, and you're not. And I'm not going to make you sleep on the couch because that's rude. Yeah. I fucking hate that. I hate that saying, oh, it's sleeping on the couch tonight. Really? Why? Let's talk it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're splitting up the team. Let's just get to the bottom of what's going on. Let's figure it out. Let's go to bed and wake up tomorrow.
That's it, man. Yeah. Literally, that's it.
Back to the topic with. So, how many hobbies do you have?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. Yeah. If we're going to just look off cam, on cam, side segment, doesn't matter what it is. All of them. Mm-hmm. There's shooting the shit straight. There's nothing else to do in this world other than try something new. I've jumped out of a plane before. I won't bungee jump. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I don't trust myself to a giant hair tie. Yeah. But those giant rubber bands break. Yeah. Parachutes, you got 2 shots, see what happens. But yeah, no, all the hobbies because why not? Mm-hmm. What else?
So what do you consistently do?
Consistently now, cars, motorcycles, a lot of my e-bike stuff, and I'd say more like outdoorsy stuff.
Like what?
Like a lot of hiking.
Hiking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get into hunting now.
That's on the list.
I enjoy firearms. Yeah,
right there with you. Do you do any like mountain biking or rock climbing? That's stuff
I used to do rock climbing. I'd say rock climbing was probably.
What gym did you climb at?
New Jersey Rock Gym, right in Fairfield.
Yep.
Yeah, NJ Rock.
Dude, that was my home gym for a while. I started at Randolph Climbing Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I probably talked about this on the podcast. When I went to County College, a friend of mine started the climbing club there. I don't even know if it's still around. And we got like semester memberships for Randolph Climbing Center, and it was like $25 for this semester. So it's like 3.5 months. It was next to nothing. It was great. So I started there. It was a 5-minute drive. 10-minute drive, if that.
Did you do a lot of like the longer blade climbs or more like bouldering stuff?
I did more top rope and that stuff. I don't mind bouldering, but I'm more in the top rope style. And then NJ Rock, I got really big into and got into sport climbing. And in 2015, I did my first international trip for rock climbing. I went to Thailand.
Really? That's very cool.
Yeah. Dude, that was... I was actually back there in October for my honeymoon. I fucking love Thailand. Thailand's one of my favorite places, but it's one of the best places to climb in the world. So I've been to Thailand, Kalimnos, Greece, and El Pochero Chico, Mexico for climbing.
Oh, that is huge.
Yeah. And obviously the gunks. So
I can only say I've been into rock climbing enough for maybe like a year or 2 at a time.
Yeah.
So I've been to like get into shoes and everything like that, but it was just, all right, go to my local gym, do some climbing for a while. That actually spawned from a lot of like the Spartan race stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because there was a lot of like upper body control that I needed to really understand. And then I got really into climbing. I think after that, went back to all like car, bike stuff, and then like now I randomly go axe throwing. Like I'm big on billiards. I go bowling. once a week.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
That's
big on
awesome.
bowling, bro. You're big on
I used to
bowling.
join dart leagues. Like,
Oh,
it's,
dart.
Yeah, why not everything? Like,
Dude,
there's
dart's fucking crazy.
if I view it this way, right? Like, just go try stuff. Like, you're never going to be good at anything. And I tell everyone that, like, yeah, no, you suck at this. Everyone sucks at everything until you get good at it. Just do it enough times until it's fun. And then if you decide, hey, I don't care enough to be good at this, great, stop doing that.
And sometimes when you take that approach, it it expedites how the timing of how you get good at it. Some people just get good. Like, when you really believe in yourself, you get better at something quicker. Unless if you go with the mindset that, oh, this is going to be hard, I don't want to try this because I'm going to suck. Yeah, you're going to suck in the beginning, and then it's going to, over time, you're going to get better, right?
Yeah.
But if you go in it with a better attitude, hey, guess what? You might take the necessary steps while enjoying it to learn how to get better quicker.
You have to want to have that, like, drive, right? I think, look, we're just going right in the conversation. You might have heard me say it at work. I say it to people all the time, like, yeah, no, you're not good at this. Like, you're bad. That's okay. We're going to teach you to be good.
Yeah.
Like,
You're where everyone else starts.
Yeah.
You're no different than anyone else. See that guy who's doing really good? Yeah, he's starting the same position you're at.
People get so tight on that. Where I can't go to the gym. I've never done it before. Yeah, neither
my
has
God.
everyone else until they've gone there.
Dude, that's everyone's excuse for starting jiu-jitsu. I need to get in shape before I go. No, just show the fuck up. You'll get in shape.
There's someone at work that is always constantly asking you and Big Red, why is it taking long? I should be better. Do you know that person? I don't know.
I might have an idea.
Oh, yeah.
And typically my response there is, hey, stop thinking about it. Just do the thing.
Yeah. And you know what? That person just started doing the thing and it got a lot easier. It's me. It's me.
Oh.
It's me. Yeah, it was me. Yeah, it was me. And this stems from the thing where, and we were talking about this yesterday about how we view ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Not in an arrogant way. To preface this, I'm not saying this in an arrogant way, but we agree that we need you, like, or I think we agreed. So if this is not something you agree with, tell me.
Sure.
We view ourselves as, yes, I am special. Yes, I am going to be the best at what I'm going to do, yada, yada. Not in an arrogant way, just as a way for us to get better. So when I do that, if something didn't go my way, instead of just being like, all right, I'm learning, I was just like, what the fuck? And they were, Mark and Big Red, or I call him Big Red. We don't call him Big Red. We're just calling him Big Red for the show. just unless if he listens, he knows who he is. They were like, yo, just relax. Like, you're fine, bro. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I am fine. Just relax.
Dude, I just keep everything basic, right? Just relax and just try to do the thing. I went golfing with Big Red and the boys that we work with. That at some point, I didn't know. Obviously, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not a golfer. Play hockey is what it is. I sort of swing I swing a twig. It's not a golf club.
Yeah.
But that being the case, all I'm going to do is, well, all right, if I can be humble enough or intelligent enough to say, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, I'm just going to listen to the guys who I believe are experts. They showed me what to do. I had a great first drive on like the third or fourth hole. They're like, wow, that's impressive. I just did what you told me to do.
Yeah.
I got no reason to argue with you here. I don't know what the hell's going on, so I'm just going to do what you're telling me. And if it works, it works.
Yeah, and you want to know what? When that goes back to like the ignorance is bliss. Like, if you don't not overcomplicating, because I've golfed before. It's very hard. If you get in your own head, for sure, it's going to be harder, right? The swing on a golf club, the fact that you're able to do that, the reason why is because you just didn't overcomplicate it. You heard what they said, you implemented what they say, and it's like, that's always easier said than done. But the only reason why I think it gets hard when people don't grasp it right away is because you're overthinking it. You're overthinking it. That's it. If you don't overthink it, shit starts to go. If you release that energy of overthinking and just, okay, they told me this, let me do it, it's gonna work. It's gonna work.
It's an overthinking and almost like a pride thing. No one wants to admit when they're wrong. I don't like being wrong. But if you can start adopting the mentality of, I just don't know what the hell I'm doing, it makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
That's how I learn everything on a daily basis. I like cars. I have a lot of friends who know significantly more about cars than I do. I can't put an engine together. Mm-hmm. But if I just sit there and say, well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, show me something. If you constantly stay a student to the world, life's not that hard. You just learn how to adjust as you go. So everyone always has that mentality of, oh, it's a thing I can't do. Yeah, you can't do it today. But look, your form sucks. Just do a push-up. Then we'll do 2 tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. And then you just keep learning along the way.
Literally, like, and going back to like push up, how I learned how to do a push up, dude. It was in 7th grade, and up until 7th grade, I could never do a push up, never. And I just remember how we were saying in the beginning of the show, just make the decision to do it. I literally told myself, I was like, okay, I'm either going to learn how to do a push up now. I'm not going to be the dude who's doing push ups on his knees. Absolutely not. So now I'm going to learn how to do a push up. And guess what? I actually got it pretty quickly. Not at first, but it only took a couple times for me to build that strength because I decided I'm just going to do it. Where I could have been like, oh, this is too hard. I don't want to do it. It's embarrassing. I don't want to look like an idiot with my back cons on it. No, just, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And I did it. Yeah, same thing with pull-ups. Pull-ups are the same thing. I can do a lot of pull-ups now. I used to only be able to do 3 pull-ups, and that was struggling, and that was 2 years ago. You want to know how you got better at pull-ups? I just did them.
You just do the thing.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'll even say the name, right? Like, there's a reason I like to listen to people like Alex Hormozy and Chris Williamson. It's just do the thing. Mm-hmm. Like, what else is there to do? It's don't overcomplicate stuff. Keep it simple. One foot in front of the other. Go do the thing.
Yeah.
No one's gonna clap for you for doing 1 push-up. No one's gonna clap for you for putting up that first rep of the bar on bench. But eventually, you're gonna get to a place where someone else does get to look at you and go, "Oh, I want to look like that guy one day." Mm-hmm. And it comes down to just taking the action, actionable steps, and just moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Love that. Yeah, and you want to know what to add on to this? Once you start to just relax and keep it simple, it opens up for you. And by that I mean, when I was overcomplicating things, sure, I was closing deals, but I was overcomplicating it, and the opportunity wasn't coming there. There was a time where I couldn't even fucking pitch because no one would give me the opportunity because I was blocking myself by overthinking the negative, and the negative showed up. Once I really decided, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to keep this so goddamn simple. I'm going to explain what I need to explain, nothing more. People started word vomiting. I was like, where's the opportunity going to come from? Literally within the switch of my mindset, people were giving me like, oh, yeah, no, I have some time. Oh, this is what the issue is. Blah, 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 blah. Word vomit. And I was like, okay, cool. Here, I'm going to pick from there. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh, this is a lot easier than I was making it.
Life gets a lot easier when you keep things simple.
Yeah.
Everyone overcomplicates stuff.
Absolutely. Well, you got to also boil it down to make it a simple terms of stuff. Otherwise, it's just like you're going to get paralysis by analysis. Like, you're not going to be able to move forward with anything if you focus on the whole picture. You know, you have a problem. Well, if you focus on the whole thing, you're not going to be able to, what direction you moving forward. You know, you got a flat tire on the side of the road. Oh, shit, I can't drive anymore. Okay. Pull over. Stop. Change the tire. Oh, I don't have a spare. Okay, well, what do you have? I have my cell phone. Okay, I'll call a tow truck. Cool. Problem solved. Instead of you panic, well, I can't drive and I have to get there, blah, blah, blah. Well, doesn't focus on not being able to drive it. Focus on solving the issue.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not the full picture of like, well, what am I going to do tomorrow for work? Well, I'm going to have this flat tire. Blah. Just deal with the problem now. And then when you finish that problem, deal with the next problem.
Yeah.
Not everyone agrees with this. I guess we'll call him an influencer here. I'm going to shout out Calzone on this one. We're just going to call him Calzone because he wanted me to mention him. But there's a lot of positive you could take from a lot of different people and their mentalities. Andrew Tate's one of them. Mm-hmm. What's the best move on the chessboard? Mm-hmm. I've played chess before. I've grown up playing. I can't say I'm an avid player, but what's the best move? Just like you said, you have a flat tire. Great. Mm-hmm. Change the tire. You don't have a tire iron. You have a cell phone. Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't have your phone's dead. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't live in, I mean, look, I'll say this from our experience, right? We're in a first world country here. There's a chance I could find a gas station in a half a mile and I have 2 legs. Yeah. And if I had 1 leg and some crutches, I still got 1 leg and some crutches. If you're in a wheelchair, you got wheels.
Yeah.
So whatever's happening, just make the best move on the chessboard. What else is there? You could bitch about it all you want, or you just make the best move.
Just to make the decision and move forward. My cousin I used to play lacrosse with, he would say is that just make a decision, even if it's the wrong decision. It's better than not deciding. If you're hesitating, it's better to make the wrong decision than hesitate trying to figure out what to do. Mm-hmm. Just go and do it, and then respond to whatever happens from there. So yeah, it's the philosophy is just take that step, one step at a time.
And even from like an athletic perspective, right? Thinking about going to the gym is not going to the gym.
Yeah.
Thinking about the workout you want to plan is not doing the workout. Thinking about your diet or preparing your diet is not losing that weight. Just going to the gym is going to the gym. you just gotta go.
Mm-hmm. And the problem is, sorry to cut you off. The problem is too is that you get a lot of the dopamine hit of doing the task by thinking about it. So if you can turn off the thinking about it and just going to do it, you're already a half a step further because your energy's into the actual task instead of planning for the task and then doing it.
Or I challenge this: you even adjust where the dopamine hit is. Mm-hmm. It's something I do try to train in sales or just in general for friends in life. Instead of focusing so much on the outcome, just focus on the work. Because if the dopamine hits when it's through the grind, then the outcome doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And if the grind is true, then the outcome's always going to be positive. So it's all based on inputs and outputs. I'm a math guy. Mm-hmm. So if I'm just focused on how many inputs I have there, and they're all good inputs, right? It's not, if the inputs are drinking water, getting sleep, going to the gym, the output's going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. It's going to be physically fit. I'm going to feel great. But if the inputs are, we'll call them extracurricular activities, staying out late, drinking too much, you're going to get the output that you expect. It just comes down to doing the thing. So what is it that you want? Don't focus on that end result. Just do all the steps that lead you there. You're going to get there and it's fine.
Yeah.
So sorry, I keep cutting you off. Are you saying like you try to have that dopamine hit is the process, not the end result? So like you're not your goal is not to get that dopamine hit from making that sale. Your dopamine hit is making the call and talking the person through it to get the end result.
It's exactly that. I'm glad you extrapolated that. Same thing for the gym. I don't look forward to closing the deal. I try to look forward to getting my ass kicked on every call. Yeah. Because it's, that was a good ass kicking. And I'm just going to do that 80 times today. Eventually, I'm going to have the sales I need to get. Mm-hmm. If I enjoy I got to do the Stairmaster for 20 minutes, and then I got to lift, and then I got to hit, 20 minutes in the sauna, and that's what I look forward to, then the picture I take 3 months from now is going to be that picture that I needed anyway, or the picture that I wanted to take. It just comes down to enjoy. If you enjoy the process, then the product's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no, there's two things I'm going to say. So I'm going to say on two things. First thing is about the short steps, right? The small steps to the big thing. This last month, right? I was behind my year, right? And I was behind. I wasn't making the bonuses. So what did I do, right? Thanks to you guys and some other people, shifting my mindset on how I took the outcome. Obviously, me making the dials isn't the problem, but you guys focus in on every conversation. That was for step one. Each conversation led to winning that conversation, winning the day. Winning the day, I won the week. When I won the week, I won back my month, but I still needed to recoup a couple of grand to make back my year for the bonuses. So after I won my month, I kept the same mindset and won back the year. It's the same thing. Do it in small steps. You'll win, and then you'll get that big win, right? And then you just got to keep going. You got to keep. It's not now. I don't take my foot off the gas. Keep going. But it's those small wins led to the big win. That's the first thing I want to comment on. The one thing I want to comment too, talking about the mindset, the visualization and the thinking actually has, and this is just my perspective. You don't have to agree with it. It actually does help. So yes, obviously, here's where it helps. You could, and Conor McGregor actually in an interview said this too, and he was talking about. He's like, well, how did you know he was gonna who the fuck did he? Who was the Brazilian dude he beat?
I see his face. I can't think of his name right now.
It might have been Joao, but regardless, he's like, how did you know he was gonna drop? Because Conor was like, he's gonna drop his hand. I'm gonna come in with the hook or whatever. And he goes, how did you know? He's like, yeah. Well, when you see it in here, if you have the courage to speak it, it's gonna happen. So what does that mean? That means he visualized that. He did. He visualized how he was going to knock him out. He took all the small steps, right? He had faith that it was going to happen. And right when that moment came and he took it. He took, right when I forgot his name, but right. Whatever. Right when he dropped his hand, just how he visualized it, right? He capitalized. Yeah. Fucking hook and knocked him out.
What do I say about luck? Preparation opportunity. Yep. So he prepared himself for that situation. He recognized the situation because he mentally walked through it many, many times, and then when it presented itself, he took advantage of it.
No, 100%. And this is where I'm starting to learn over the vast amount of books that I've read on this specific topic in the past few years is this. So people, when I brought up manifestation, which for me is it's just whatever your dominant belief is on a subject will play out to you. That's it.
Sure.
Right? That's where controlling your mind comes crucial. A lot of people laughed and was like, "Oh, well, if I fucking think I'm a millionaire, and I'm on my fucking bed, a Ferrari's gonna fucking come through the thing. I want a Ferrari." It's like, no, it's not. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: you own a business. Just do an entrepreneur. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you own a business. Your mindset is, this is hard. I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna try, but I'm gonna fail. Maybe I'm not gonna be the best. Well, guess what? You're not gonna be the best. Mm-hmm. Your mindset is, okay, every night you lie down there, you say, I have a Lamborghini. I like Lamborghinis. I have a Lamborghini, right? What if, as long as you don't think against that, right? At some point, shit's going to come in. Maybe that one customer came in that day and you were on point. You capitalized. That customer just now brought in more customers. And then it's going to start building. And at some point, you're going to realize, you're going to be like, holy fuck, wait, I'm driving my fucking Lamborghini. But that only is going to come when you believe, truly convince yourself that, like Connor, he visualized, this guy, his name is going to come, and putting down his fucking hand when he capitalized. People think when they don't understand, they think, oh, well, what are you doing? You're saying these affirmations and you're hoping something's going to crash through your house. It's like, no, I'm saying that as long as I believe and keep doing those affirmations, I'm going to live my life, continuously live my life with the faith that it's going to happen at some point. It may come out of the blue. You'd be like, oh, you know what? I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I think everything is driven from your thought. Sometimes things that I thought in the past were coincidences, I think about it now. I was like, oh, no, it's not a coincidence. I brought that into existence. Something as simple as this. Stupid as this. There's a dude here in Morristown. I won't say his name. He's well known. He's a very nice guy. Met him. And one day, he just came into my mind, dude. I was like, oh, I wonder what the fuck he's doing. Like, where? I haven't seen him in so long. I went out to Roots, and I was just chilling. I was drinking. And all of a sudden, I turned to my left. Some dude sat down. I was like, motherfucker. And in the past, I've been like, that's such a coincidence. I was like, nope. I was like, you know what? I brought him here. He had to play out his role. Mm-hmm. I see where he is. I saw him. He looks like he's doing well. How you doing? He left.
You went to Roots that day. You still made a choice.
Yeah, I still made a choice. Yes, exactly. And that was, yes. I didn't want to go like that week. I didn't want to go, but then something was pushing me like, hey, no, why don't you go today? I was like, all right, fuck it. I went. He was there.
A lot of people talk about affirmations. I think when you actually speak things into the universe, it just gives you the opportunity to recognize those instances as they come about.
Yeah, but they're coming about. Yeah, but what I'm saying is they come about because you spoke it into existence.
Do you feel like there's a chance that so like the muse, right? It's talking to you. Do you feel like sometimes that the affirmations isn't necessarily your voice, but it's more the muse talking through you?
I think it's God. That's why.
Yeah, God, muse, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, I think it's God. So, for example,
like it's not your decision that this is what you want. Obviously, you want the Lamborghini, but there's certain things like that guy popped in your head. Was that your thought, or is that the universe was talking through you?
Yeah, no,
God was talking through you.
Yeah, but no, I think it was just my thought because I've gotten to a point where I've practiced this like consciously to a point where I thought about him. And it wasn't that like I know where you're coming from. This particular case, I think he just came up because I was like, oh yeah, what about that guy? And then I just forgot about it, and then he popped up.
Yeah, but like you didn't purposely say, I want a Lamborghini or I want to run into this guy. This guy popped up in your. That's my question. Is,
it works both ways. It works both ways.
So this was more or less like you got a like a better term, a signal to your brain.
Yeah,
that this popped up, and it was more like, hey, get ready for this.
Yeah, no, it works
like
both ways.
If you accept this, if you accept these charges, you're going to be delivered this message.
Yeah.
You got the message, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, yeah, I accept this. Cool. Let's go down this path.
No, 100%. And it works both ways. Like that definitely is probably what happened, but it also does work in a way where I've been like, all right, let's have fun with this. Because at first, I was a skeptic at first. I was like, okay, I don't have any reason to say that I don't believe in this, but let's try it out. And I did a really specific thing. I said, this person is going to tell me that they met a person with this specific name that isn't too common. And at one point, I said it a couple times. I forgot about it. You don't need to forget about it, but I said it a couple times and forgot about it. And I was working out, and that person was like, "Oh, so and so had a kid, and the son, they named him this." And I was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Okay." And in my head, I'm like, "All right, that's not exactly what I said. I said they're gonna talk to someone with that name." So I said, even though that I do recognize this as my quote unquote manifestation, let's see if I can get it exact. They're going to talk to somebody. That person comes back a week later, forgot about it again. They go, "Oh, by the way, it's crazy. I was at the store. I was looking at some stuff. Just I wasn't going to buy something. The salesman came up. We started having this nice conversation, asked me what my name is. I said this, and I asked him what his name was, and it was that." And I was like, okay. This isn't coincidence. That's when I knew. I was like, okay, cool. It was just fun. It was fun. I was like, oh, all right, cool. It works. It works both ways. I think that way was probably someone saying, "Hey, get ready," and that does happen. Yeah, but that's God. Yeah. That's in my opinion. Yeah. That in my opinion, it's God. Whatever. Some people aren't religious. Universe, whatever the fuck you want. Energy.
Universe, God, muse, whatever you want to pick. Yeah,
I like that word, muse. I didn't know muse was supposed to be universe, God. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Have you ever read the War of Art?
Art of War?
No, War of Art.
There's another book called The War of Art, not The Art of War.
So there's The Art of War.
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, and then
which I've read.
The War of Art.
Never read.
Don't know that.
It's a very short book. Joe Rogan talks about it nonstop. So the fact that you haven't heard this is kind of bizarre. But I forget that, I think the author's name's David. I could be wrong. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a very short read. I suggest getting the book. It's phenomenal. But he talks about just the creative mind. Go and sit at a desk and just go through the process of whatever. You're writing a newspaper or writing a book, right? Just go and write. Just go write. Just go through the motion every time. And at some point, you're going to get the muse talking through you. And this is where the muse comes from. That's where I heard the term. But it's the universe, God, whatever. Once you set yourself up in the position, you get in the routine, your ability to let go and accept these signals pop up more easily. Where if you're just going and trying to force words coming out, you're not in a flow state. You're not in a receptive way. You're trying to be in control and rigid, and you're like, I need to get this out, instead of just go and write and let it flow, and you just decompress, relax, and start accepting things. So.
Yeah. So the letting go part of it too is, and this is where a lot of regardless, whatever's right for you is right for you. In the end, whatever scenario you come to, if you make a decision, people always say, well, what if something better comes along? Motherfucker, who chooses in your life what's better? You do. Yeah. So yes, if something else comes along that isn't quote unquote what you wanted, and you're like, oh wait, that's actually better. I want that now. That's now the thing you want. Choose it, something better. What if I propose the idea, not I, but the idea being proposed that I'm saying is, what if the something better is that particular thing just in a better version, right? And then at that point, instead of being because everyone's let it go, what our society thinks is, but I don't want to let this go because I want this. Okay, fine. Then go for that. But the letting go part where you're saying, let go of the resistance. Let go of the need of having it. Let go of the obsession over it. Like I said, every time that this shit has come to me, and this is good I'm talking through this. I think this is the reason I'm talking through this, because it finally just clicked on me. Every time that something came in the way it was, I wasn't thinking about it. Mm-hmm. I say the words, I put the affirmations out there, I do my prayers, right, every morning, and every time I'm asking, where is it? It doesn't come. Yeah. But when I'm like, all right, God, it's in your hands now. This is what I want, not something better, the better version of this. And I sometimes just forget about it because I'm having fun talking with you guys. Happens every fucking time. And that's the flow state. That's letting go. The letting go is the obsession of having.
The letting go. One of your opinions is on that with all the stuff you work through. But I found is letting go of trying to be in control. And that's what I feel like a lot of people is. They try to be in control. They have to I want this. They get the rigid structure. That's where they get the rigid plan of working out and all that. And I've learned, in all my phases of life, of the hobbies I've learned is if you turn off the main brain, I call it the monkey brain, just go through the motion, let whatever the background noise take over and get just let go. And that's where I found that most of the flow state and things start to kind of like the rhythm comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mentality on that is I think people do want too much control.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a victim to that myself, where it's I need to control every single thing in my life. I'm not in control of it, then what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
But that does only go so far. There is a beauty and there is this natural flow when it comes down to genuinely letting things go and not trying to have so much control. And I'll even say that in personal experience, right? Whether it's trying to learn, look, a nerd moment here, trying to learn a new mechanic in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have ever seen the game Rocket League, or
Oh yeah, I suck at it. It's tough.
yeah, it's a tough game, right? There are some games even nowadays that are just very tough, but trying to learn certain new mechanics. Like I've gotten better at that game by putting the controller down, not playing for a year, and all of a sudden things make sense.
I feel that with jiu-jitsu. I take a week off, I come back, and things are like, oh, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
For jiu-jitsu for you, for playing hockey for me, I think a lot of times it comes down to not trying to have so much control and just letting the body naturally do what it has to do.
Yes,
There
I couldn't agree
are
more.
moments that you just have to keep things simple and go, all right, let's see how this goes. And I think it does come down to sometimes people also overthinking. Everyone's just really tight on their mentality and the standard they hold themselves to. Sometimes it's all right, let's just slow down a second, let's get into a rhythm, and let's get into like a natural place and see how things go. Let's see what type of flow we can come out with, because my best sessions snowboarding have been not thinking and just enjoying the moments. My best sets DJing have been just feeling what I'm feeling at that, rather than being nervous going up to it.
Yeah, dude.
So
nice.
yeah, I on that topic exactly with snowboarding too, I couldn't agree more. So my hobby now that's probably closest to those moments is mountain biking, and the problem is I catch myself more and more now, which I hate doing. I'm trying to get away from it. I'm in the zone, like I'm in the flow state. It's like, shut up, you're ruining it.
Don't talk about it.
You're not in it anymore. And I've gotten better where like, oh yeah, I'm in it. Okay, cool, whatever. And like I don't completely like go back into it, because I clearly like once you acknowledge it, you kind of pull yourself out even a little bit. So I've gotten better. Like, okay, let me just forget about it and just go back to how you get there is you go back to enjoying the process. You're getting the dopamine dump from the process. The goal with mountain biking isn't to get to the bottom of the hill. It's to enjoy the process of going down the hill.
Yeah, and the line you take and the way you make it down. I think so. Look, it relates to what we do for work. That there is a process that you should follow. And I think when you're first starting to learn something new, this happens with new guys at work. This happens with a lot of new hobbies. People tend to find themselves pretty good at things right away, and then all of a sudden they kind of plateau. Right? It happens at the gym too. We could talk about that. But it's typically after you break past that plateau of overthinking that you really start to exponentially grow at something again. So even relating to, let's say, like mountain biking and snowboarding, right? There's going to be that part, in my opinion, where it's, all right, let me learn all the basics first. So I have a very strong foundation as to what I'm doing. But most people tend to hit a point where, okay, now that I know all that, how much more can I learn? And then you start overthinking it. And then eventually you just turn the brain off and go, well, I already know what I know. Let's just see how it feels.
Yeah.
And like, that's why I enjoy snowboarding on certain weekends or when I go with certain friends, because I get to just turn everything else off. And, you have those moments where you just let the body feel the way it feels and everything's natural. Nothing else matters. And it's like the most freeing you're ever going to be. I think it comes down to breaking through that plateau or that ceiling of, all right, well, I'm overthinking this too much. I know too much now. Let me just take a second to take a step back and just feel. And like that's where you really start to increase like your enjoyment and the growth and a lot of stuff.
I love that. That's beautiful. I really enjoy how you just worded that.
Yeah. You know what this is making me think about? All this talk about like flowing and all that stuff and knowing, like the knowing we call it, right? When I first started on the phones, one of the deals that came in, the guy was like so against it. I used, what I was thinking with tools, trying to understand, blah, blah, blah. He ends up buying. I was like, awesome. Send him the thing. He goes, hey, just so you know, like, send over the application. And usually when you're on the digital sales, you want that application to be completed, not in a manipulative way. You want it to be completed so you don't have to chase them again, and you can send it to the back office. But this was beginning on. I was like, oh, okay, cool. He wanted it. He convinced himself the deal was made, right? I sent in the docs. I didn't think about it. I just said, cool, have a nice day. Just get to it. I need to get it. He's like, yeah, no worries. I'll get to it. Didn't think anything of it. Kept calling. Literally 2 hours later, he calls me. He's like, hey, just so you know, submitted it. And I was like, yeah, no, awesome. Just got the email. Thank you. Bye. Right? Sent it. Because I wasn't thinking. I wasn't in the control. I knew I had the sale. I did what I needed to do to get the sale. I was confident he was going to sign. Mm-hmm. This is where I just had a aha moment. So many times when we send docs, we call it sending docs. If it's not signed, there's this negative stigma around it. Or maybe that's what I have from that time back in May to now, have put a negative stigma that if I don't get the doc signed on that call, I'm never hearing from him again. That's a bad mindset to have. There were many times where I've had docs go out and I have chased the motherfucker. Call. Guess what? No one's ever done it. No one's ever signed. When I recouped my year, the story I just told before, I had a really good conversation with the guy, send the docs. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll stay on the phone with you. So if you have any questions, he goes, nah, man, it's on my phone right now. I see it. There's 13 docs. I want to do it on my laptop. I go, cool. No worries. So I go, you know what? And I remember someone was like, hey, dude, what happened? And I'm like, no, he had to go. I tried and he had to go. And I was like, this is fine though. In my head, I was like, no, this is fine. He's going to sign it. Next day, weren't signed. He told me he was going to sign that night. I was like, okay, no worries. Sent an email. Called over the weekend. Monday, called, no answer. Sent a follow-up email. This is the last week. I still hadn't recouped my year. But I was confident he was going to sign. And I was like, no need to control this. It's going to happen. The next day, I'm talking with you, Big Red, and everyone else, right? And all of a sudden, I get an email. Wasn't expecting it. And it just said, congratulations, you have e-doc signed. And I was like, what the fuck? And it was him.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, let's go, baby. Similar situation. I'm going to apply it. Oh, what just happened?
Cut.
Oh, right there.
Oh, we're back.
That was me. That was my foot. Similar situation. I'm going to apply now. I have docs out. I keep trying to call the guy. He's going to sign. And if he doesn't, I'll find someone else.
Correct. What else is there to do?
Yeah. Exactly. Just move on.
Move on.
Yeah, deal with the next problem, right?
Everyone has this obsession with controlling everything. All right, you already did the thing. Now what? Like that's why you hear me speak so bluntly, even to like our newer guys. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now what? Unless you're willing to answer that question that easily.
Now what?
Now what? Yeah.
I try to boil things down to basics because it helps you get a little bit further. It helps you get to that next step. But if I'm always treated like, now what? Okay.
Yeah. And you want to know what too?
Now?
And you want to know what too? Think about it this way. Think about how many times you've had a deal that quote unquote closed loss. So you lost on the deal. They ghost you, whatever, they say no. You go back to that months down the road. You go back and either A, they want to buy it now, right? So it was never a solid no. The only solid no you told yourself was, oh, this person said no to me. They don't want it. No, they just didn't want it then. Maybe you blocked yourself. Maybe you put some resistance, right? Or how many times has this person said no? So you're like, oh, let me call this client again. And someone else sold it. And you're like, motherfucker, you told me no. It's like, no, you told yourself that this was a no sale. How many times have you sold someone that told you no?
Oh, all the time.
Like you come back to it, right?
Yeah, and I'll close it out 3 months, 6 months later.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, like the reason I try not to switch this clients, the reason I tell you guys, like, all right, great. You got 2,000 more people to call.
Yeah,
call the next one is because, okay, now what? What are you going to, again, I'll be a little vulgar, but what are you going to do? Bitch about it all day? We got other stuff to do. Call the next person. So what? Yep. Who cares?
Exactly.
It's low level. Hey, do you know if you zoom out, you can't see the earth?
Yeah, exactly, right.
I do that in everyday life all the time. It's because it doesn't matter.
Dude, how many times have you tried getting someone to do something, they keep telling you no, the same person, and finally without being a nuisance, you ask them again and they say yeah. It's not a permanent no.
Yeah.
They're going to say yes at some point. Just give them some time.
And also, what do you get out of it, right? Like, let's talk about it in a professional sense. Like, what am I getting out of chasing that person the whole time? If they're going to sign, it's either going to happen today or it's going to happen later, or it's just not going to happen. What am I doing wasting my energy stressing about it now, regardless if it happens? It already didn't happen today, so now what? Who cares?
Exactly.
It's a very simple mentality. It's one that I've tried to help a couple of friends adopt. Who cares? And it's not because I'm
cynical.
Yeah, it's not from a cynical place. It's just, it's low level. So what?
Yeah.
What am I going to do anyway after this? I got stuff to do. Okay, cool. Who cares?
Who cares?
Like, what am I going to let that bother me? Am I a child? Well, obviously not. Is it going to physically harm me? No. Does it have some crazy effect on my life where I lose my house today? No. Okay. Who cares? It's low level.
Literally, one of the days, I think it was November. We ended November. I didn't hit, right? And I was so angry. You know, me being angry when I don't hit the month. What? No, I was so angry and so disappointed in myself, right? And I was like, oh, I'm not going to get a commission check. You want to know what happened? The next day, literally the next day was Thanksgiving. I was like, it's really not that big of a deal. I have enough money to pay my rent. I'm not scrounging for cash. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I had a bad month. I'll bounce back from it. Day after I had to work, made a deal. Hopped off the computer. Like, it's like once you literally just let go of the need of having it comes.
Mm-hmm. Once you let go of a lot of things, everything's fine. Like, let's talk about something that happened at work recently. I don't know if he told you this story. The lake has been frozen.
Oh, this is so funny. I did not tell you. Go.
Make it nice and quick, right?
Yeah.
Frozen lake. Yeah, I'll go stand on it. What's going to happen? Saw a turtle on top of the lake. Well, he's going to die. Let's help him out.
Yep.
Worst case scenario happened. Went out there, sort of helped him out. Tried to go out again. Stepped on the lake. Foot went right through in the water. Yep. Middle of the workday. What am I going to do? Go buy another pair of jeans for the day?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? You went in, you had socks, you had a pair of... I
had socks and shoes in the car. And if I didn't, I would have been a little more annoyed. What was I going to do? Buy another pair of sneakers? Am I going to buy another pair of sneakers in the next 60 years of my life? Yeah. Okay. Who cares if it has to be today?
Yeah, exactly. And you saved the turtle. So.
Helped out a turtle, and it's low... now I got a story to tell. Yeah. I stepped in a lake at work, and I actually ended up in it because I was trying to help a turtle. Okay, It's a little bit funny. Am I going to be embarrassed about it? No, silly stuff happens. Yeah. I did it because I wanted to do it, and I bought a replacement pair of pants that I'm going to wear anyway.
And it broke up your day. It wasn't making a phone call. It was going out, touching grass. Yeah, touching ice.
Touching grass.
And what happened?
You were touching water, literally.
I didn't die that day.
No.
So it's a fine day, and I had a great day with my buddies. We had a couple funny comments about it. Moved on with my day, and look, now it's a Saturday.
That's it. Dude, honestly,
sun came up.
You know what was funny too? I completely forgot about it until you just brought it up now. So it's like things and that could be another quote unquote lesson, right? That like you do something and you think that people are still thinking about it. It's like, no, dude, I completely forgot about that. Not that what you did wasn't even embarrassing. It was funny, right? Yeah. It's like I felt bad, but I saw that you didn't feel bad. So why the fuck am I going to be like, oh, guys, stop laughing? I was like, oh, that sucks, but it's funny. Cruz is laughing, so he doesn't fucking take it too seriously. I think it's funny.
I like that you said what you just said a second ago. It reminds me of a friend growing up. We were talking about going out, right, boys? People don't go to the bars or clubs as much as they used to. So it took at least a decade of building confidence in myself as like a man, right? It's something that I had to grow up with after just like, let's say, rough high school. It is what it is. But one of the things that I grew to understand is when you go out, and it's something I've tried to instill in a couple friends, right? Everyone else has something they're thinking about too. So when you go out to the club and you're like, oh, well, I don't dance really great and everyone's watching me, or I'm not dressed great and everyone's watching me. Well, everyone else in there is thinking the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. And that's why I adopt the mentality of who gives a shit.
Yeah, who cares?
No one's paying attention to you the same way you're not paying attention to
that great
anyone else.
Man took me forever to just get over.
Yeah.
Forever. And then it was like, no one fucking cares.
And the people who are laughing at you are the ones who are scared shitless to even go out on there.
Yeah, and then you just go back to the mentality of who gives a shit.
Yeah, just let go.
Yeah,
you've let go. Now you get to go out and dance. You have a great time, and the people that are watching, oh, what do they have an opinion? Great. I'm not going to see and again in the last 70 years I have in my life, or whatever the case may be. So I'm not worried about it.
And dude, even another thing too, like the confidence to go up and just strike a conversation. Right? I would remember I was at 1776 over here, and I was sitting at the bar by myself, and there was these two ladies having a funny conversation. They looked. They're attractive. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to butt myself in this conversation at the right time. I felt it out. I heard something, butted myself in the conversation. And at first, the reaction they gave, in my head, I'm like, fuck, like, all right, maybe they think I'm some fucking weirdo. And I was like, you know what? They said something. And I was like, all right, whatever. At least I tried. Maybe it wasn't the best approach. Didn't take the best approach, whatever. Started drinking again. they turned to me and started continuing the conversation. And in my head, I'm like, wait a second, I thought I fucked this up. And it turned out to be good. Yeah. And I ended up talking to them the rest of the night. I was like, all right, it's not always as bad as you think it is. You go out there, people aren't looking at, look at this dumbass who doesn't know how to dance. They're probably like, oh, wow, that's fucking awesome. At least he has the balls. I'm telling you, I used to be this person, not making fun of people, but I used to be the person that sat on the sideline and been like, fuck, dude, like, I want to go out there and have fun, but I suck at dancing. I was never making fun of the people dancing because I couldn't even go out there and do it myself. They're not making fun of you. They're just scared to do it themselves.
And even if they are, right, once you build the level of confidence that nothing matters, then who gives a shit?
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
So I've told you this, Joe. I like to go to my local bar. I wouldn't call it a dive, but I'll go there in a 3-piece suit. It's an Irish bar. Why would I do that? Who gives a shit?
Time to suit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
What's someone going to do? Go, oh, now I'm looking at this guy that's wearing a suit. Great. I don't care. I don't care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I happen to want to be dressed today. Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
I feel great. I look great. I'm having a good time.
Damn straight.
Good enough.
Damn fucking straight. Why not? And don't let anyone else ruin it. Fuck it.
But it's and it comes down to like the going out and dancing thing too. Everyone has so much going on in their own heads about what people think around them. None of it matters.
No.
Dude,
and it's also probably never what you think they're thinking of.
No.
Never.
Exactly.
Even with your significant other, it's probably not what you think they're thinking of.
Bro, even as something as silly. You know me, I like to wear suits to work. That's what I like to do. I like to do it. It's just, I'm comfortable doing it. I like the look. It makes me feel better. Great. Well, where we work, if you're dressed like this, you're dressed the norm, right? And whatever. That's how people like to dress. People like to show up. If it's the work environment, I'm not fucking looking down on you. But at first, I was like, dude, if I start coming in a suit, what the fuck are people going to think? And then really quickly, I was like, why do I even care what they think? Start showing up in a suit, and that's what I do now. And people know me as the dude who shows up in a suit, and I don't care. That's it.
Before you, I was the dude that showed up in the suit.
Yeah.
Ask you had him on the show. Ask Jake.
Yeah.
I was the dude that showed up in the suit. I'm not gonna mention any other podcasters, but like it's stuff that I hear through other shows, other things I listen to. Most people think, and it's something I've always understood. I couldn't articulate it, even though it's very simple. But when people get embarrassed or they have their pride to them about certain things, the way I view it is most people think, well, this is going to happen and I'm going to get embarrassed and then I'm going to be alone and then I'm going to die. Like it's this extreme mentality of all the worst things that's going to happen to you. Or you get on the dance floor, you look a little bit silly, you have a great fucking time, and that person, everyone else that saw you is going to forget about you in the next 5 minutes anyway, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Literally, that's it.
On that topic too is like I had a similar philosophy. It was I didn't always go by it, but this is something I try to ground myself with is what's worst case scenario? What's worst case scenario? Right? Okay, so like I'm trying to sell my Jeep right now. You ever hear of a website Cars and Bids?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm selling my Jeep Wrangler lifted on there. And their whole thing is don't do a reserve. It's you get the most amount of bids off of it. That's their whole spiel, and that's what I'm like, oh fuck it, whatever. Best case scenario, I get more money than I was going to originally get. Worst case scenario, I get $5,000. Cool, whatever. It is what it is. I'm just letting go at this point. But what's worst case scenario? It sells for $1. I know it's not going to sell for that. I have the statistics of what they sell for on that website. And is it going to be the lowest? Probably not. But it is what it is. In worst case scenario, then I'm out a couple grand. In the scheme of things, who cares? That's like not even half of that. The amount of money I may lose on this if it sells for the least amount of money is nothing in the scheme of what my interest rate is on my mortgage. So that is, it's whatever. Who gives a shit?
It's a drop in the bucket and it doesn't matter. So when people say like, oh, I've had a bad day, you have 364 more this year, and then you have however many years you have after that. Is the last 10-minute conversation you had going to ruin your day?
Yeah. And it's only 10 minutes of the 24 hours.
Yeah.
So of 365. So, it's a whole, it's just perspective. And back to my original thing, gratitude. You have this whole fucking day and you have 10 minutes that you get upset about. Well, be grateful that you had 24 hours, 23 hours, and 50 minutes. That was great. Maybe it wasn't all great. Okay, maybe a 20 hours that was fucking great, and you got a fantastic night of sleep. Just having a fantastic night of sleep and waking up with a glass of water is better than most people have in the world.
Yeah,
So like, yeah, okay, you had a shitty phone call and you're dealing with stress. That happens, but at the end of the day, fuck it. Like, I've talked about this a couple times, but I was going through some therapy at my in-laws' dog died in my arms, so I was working through therapy with that. And the one thing that we were working on, it was like a grounding scenario, right? Something that you can always go back to when you're in a situation, you're stressed out, upset, whatever, and just focus on this. And what was great for me is that the situation I use is I have 2 dogs. My morning, I have my cup of coffee sitting on my end table, and both dogs just lay on me every morning. That's my morning routine, and that's what grounds me. So when I'm out in the world and I'm stressed out, I just think about that. But I get to live it every single morning, and I sit there and I'm like, dude, okay, I have a mortgage payment, I have a car payment, I have this issue I'm dealing with. I still get this every fucking morning, and I'm nice and comfortable in a warm environment. I have the TV on to something I enjoy watching. Like, okay, life's fucking good.
I keep it simpler than that. The sun came up today.
Yeah.
And I got to breathe this morning. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken a long time to adopt that mentality. It's not something that I've done, overnight. But even with what I'm hearing about you, it's you get to spend every morning having your cup of coffee, sitting with your dogs, regardless of what you got to pay for that day. But I also go a little further and say, okay, well, I get to drive my car that I have to pay for to my place of work, to pay this mortgage, to sit here for this cup of coffee with these 2 dogs.
Yeah.
And like that's how I try to ground myself on a daily basis. It's all of the hardships that we have to go through life. If you can find the beauty in all of those things, as long as you try and find the actual purpose behind everything, it's not just what you're doing, it's why you're doing those things. It makes everything else so much more worthwhile. So
That's a good point. I like that.
Paying the mortgage is a pain in the ass. Mowing the lawn's a pain in the ass. Cleaning the dishes, taking out the trash. But I get to do those for the people I love, my dogs. I get to give them a good life. And at the end of the day, hopefully after 24 hours, I get to smile.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I don't, so long as the other physical beings around me are in a pretty good place for, from what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, then either way, I'm going to smile either way. It's been a great day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Love that. So I think here we've said a lot of good things to the show. We've had a lot of good conversations. I think now is probably a good time to wrap it up. We've actually been going for 2.5 hours. It hasn't felt like it.
It has not felt like
it's
it.
not. We like to always give the guest here just one more thing you want to say, like a closing statement. So you got any last words?
For my friends here at the table, for anyone that might end up listening, for anyone out there in general, sun came up today. Life's not that bad. Try to do what you can on a daily basis to help the people around you. And if we all continue to go down that road, we're all going to end up in a much better place. Realistically, I'm not, people call me optimistic. I try to be real. Put the cart back in the cart corral. Don't be a cop.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have a better day. And that's really all life comes down to. Let's keep it simple, keep smiling. And yeah, I'd say that's it. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
It was our pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on. That was great. You got anything last?
I loved everything you said today, and I'm sure you'll be back on.
Yeah,
I'm sure. We got plenty more to talk about.
Absolutely. No, it was our pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show. We enjoyed your company. Definitely great conversation. Definitely have you back on if you would like to. And then maybe sometime, maybe if it's in this warmer weather, we can do some
cigars in the garage.
Smoking and drinking at his place. That'd be. But regardless of where it's at, it's always going to be a good conversation. Once again, thank you for coming on, folks. A lot of great knowledge. Take what you want, experiment with what you want, leave what you want. It's your life. Start living. Listen, we'll take it from here. See you next week.